SNAFU. Situation normal. All fouled up. This is SNAFU.
Welcome to another episode of SNAFU. We have a special guest with us tonight. Why don't you introduce yourself, John?
Hey, my name is Jon Russel. I'm the event commander for all tournaments and conventions in North America for Warlord Games. Hi guys, how you doing?
We're doing great, and I think, hey guys, this might legitimize us a little bit more than we've ever thought. So, we have someone talking to us from Warlord Games. We also have with us.
Let's see how the interview goes.
It may strongly discredit us.
It might make us worse. But
pressure's on, John.
That's right. Cool.
It's not the pressure's not on John. I think the pressure's on us. Anyway, as you just heard, that's Dale as well.
Hey guys.
And Pat.
Hey, how's it going?
Jeff bowed out today just from a technicality. So.
Yeah, it's got to go to a Gophers game, eh? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think he's at a Gophers game. I'm guessing he is. Either he's not at one, he's watching one.
Oh, for sure, don't you know?
Yeah. So this is our first. We've been Pat's been communicating with John quite a while for our tournament, and we thought it would be great to be able to have him on our show. So, John, why don't you give us a little bit of your background? Like what
Sure.
How did you connect with Warlord, and what's your gaming history?
Well, I started out way back in the late 60s, early 70s with Avalon Hill games, Luftwaffe and, Risk and then Luftwaffe, you moved into, and then you moved into that, did a lot of the Africa Corps, Air Force, all those old, Squad Leader, all those board games, and then this little white box came around that had a dragon on it or something. It was called Dungeons and Dragons, so we did a lot of that.
Sure. And
then when I was a senior in high school, opened my own store in the house. Had to go down to the county courthouse and change the zoning districts to a business so I could put the store in there, and ran a store for a couple months. Then, of course, life gets in the way. Dad got transferred, so I had to move the store to another place, and worked at a hobby store for a while as a creative consultant. It's a nice name on your resume.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in charge of all the gaming, and then slowly started doing tournaments. Did the first tournament in Great Falls, and convention in Great Falls, Montana. Then joined the Air Force, and we did the first convention tournament over in Korea in 89, 90, and that was when Rogue Trader was out back in the day.
Very early Games Workshop.
Yep, Rogue Trader. And
it had the blue Beak Marine on the cover of that,
it is. RBTB-01, Beaky Marines, yep.
There you go.
And did that, then, of course, got really heavily involved in Epic. That was my big thing. And I became an outrider in 93, and that means I'd go and do demonstration games for anything Games Workshop. I was living in Texas, and I did about a 300-mile radius and did a lot of that. And then we'd go to all the games days and did those. And I went over to Germany and met the guys at the headquarters in Games Workshop and started talking with them and learning those guys' names, and ran into a few of those guys, and then came back and started working for Forge World in the United States. Did that for about 10 years, and we'd go to conventions, and we'd be selling Forge World stuff, and got to know the guys pretty good in the Games Workshop hierarchy, and then we all kind of were made redundant and kind of were floundering for a little bit. And John Stollard was a guy I had met and knew, and we had chatted, and we both discovered we liked World War II a lot, and we'd talk back and forth, and then along comes Warlord Games and Black Powder. And I'm like, this is kind of a cool game. And I chatted with John, and I said, hey, John, if you ever do a World War II game, it would be a lot of fun. He says, well, funny enough, you should ask that. And so we'd always exchange back books, interesting historical books or things back and forth. And then he sent me this test of Bolt Action. So we started playing the crap out of that.
So this would have been, 6-7 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the first play test for that, and the cavalry rules were my rules that we had play tested, and then we also were the guys that came up with that. If you have 4 or more people on a side, each of you have a different color dice instead of all green or all black. So then it forces, like, let's say Rick has green and Dale has brown. Well, when we pull a dice out, Dale has to move his guys instead of the allies moving their sides.
Right.
So that was one of our rules. We had a great time play testing that, and then we had the release party here in Oklahoma City. We had 4 tables of Operation Market Garden. We had One was set up for 30 core. One was set up for Vagel, which was 82nd. Then we had Grossbeck Heights, which is 101st, and of course Arnhem, which is Poles and British Airborne. And we ran it for a day, and the guys from the Phoenix sales team from Warlord Games came up, and we sold a bunch of rule books and had a video chat with Skype chat with John Stollard, and it was a good time, and we kind of just started the ball rolling. And then about a year later, we said, we should start doing a convention here in Oklahoma City. So we started doing the Warlord Games convention here in Oklahoma. Next year will be our 5th year, actually, and we've went from 1,500 square feet and 11 tables to 9,000 plus square feet and about 50 tables. So in 5 years,
wow,
that's
yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Now, is the convention, is that just all Warlord coming out, or is it bigger?
The first 3 years it was strictly Warlord, but then we decided to, that's not fair, and we all game, and we all have those other games on the shelf. So let's open it up.
A little bit of side check going on, yeah.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and fish in another pond, as we say.
All right.
And we opened it up, and it was huge. We had Team Yankee come in. We had a bunch of guys come in from Colorado, from Texas, guys driving down from Missouri, Minneapolis. Chris Clucky came down last year, and this year he couldn't make it, but he might make it next year. He's from up in your guys' area. He does some beautiful 54 millimeter French and Indian War stuff with black powder. And we had people coming from Utah driving in and flying in. It was just crazy, and it was a lot of fun, and it was very, very successful. So we're going to do it again next year. We're going to open it up, and we got painters, we've got stores, we've got vendors. We got over 15, 16 vendors. Arena Rec showed up, and they had a huge time with their stuff. And there's a guy down in San Antonio area called Mike Gomez, who runs a old Circus Maximus game from the old Avalon Hill days, but he blows it up into 20 millimeters. So this table is 12 foot by 4 foot, and you're running 20 millimeter chairs. Oh my God, it's just
going around the track then, isn't it?
Oh yeah. So we had that going on. We had Arena Rex going on, and then Jody Sires had. We try to pattern our convention with. You don't have to bring anything, just yourself. Pay to get in, $25, $35 to get in. Well, it's $35 to get in and $45 if you want to do a tournament. We have Gates of Antares tournament or a bolt action tournament. But you get in, and that's it. That's all you have to do, because every game that we make, black powder, pike and shot, bolt action, Gates of Antares, Test of Honor, I'm forgetting one. I missed one somewhere in there. Hail Caesar, that's the other one.
Yep.
And we have a beginner's table, an immediate table, and then the big table. So you walk in, you do the beginner's table for about an hour. You learn the basics. If you want to go up, you can go to the intermediate table. That's about an hour. And you can go to the big table. That's a 3 to 4 hour table. Like, for example, last year for the pike and shot table, we had a 12 foot by 5 foot or 6 foot T-shaped table, and it was conquistadors and Aztecs. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the old game days.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's like the old games days. So you don't have to, if you want to try something, test something. So this year we had the full breadth of Rome, from the chariot races to the gladiators with Arena Rex. And then our main table for Hail Caesar, Jody Sires had 500 Gauls and 500 Romans in a huge just smash up. It was phenomenal.
Oh, man. So how much space is that many guys on the table?
It was about I think it had an 8 or 10 foot by 6 foot table. It was huge.
Wow.
But we modify that, and we have guys driving down. One guy drove from Colorado, and he had Arnhem Bridge. When I say he had Arnhem Bridge, he had a 156 scale Arnhem Bridge. It was 5 feet long between two 4x6 tables, and he had the buildings, and he had Hubner coming across with the SS. Oh yeah, it was huge. He's coming back again next year. But
I always think Pegasus Bridge is big.
Oh yeah, this thing was freaking huge. It was 5 foot. It's a rare model, and you can find it. But it was like, oh my God, it was incredible. And he's coming back again next year. And we've gone up, that first little intimate session of 1,500 square feet and 11 tables and about 50 people. It was tight and a little cozy, but we just kind of expanded now. We're over 9,000 square feet now of tables of anything. And if somebody wants to come and do something, they can call me or get a hold of me through the web or the internet, or call me and we'll maybe work a deal, and you can have your team come in, just like you said, the games days of old.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. So we're doing that, and we're also bringing back the old grand tournaments. And we've kind of talked a little bit with Pat about this, and I can talk to you guys about this now to talk about tournaments. But we're trying.
Well, hang on. Before we jump into that, when do you try to have Warlord Con typically?
Oh, Warlord Con is in May, June timeframe. End of May, first part of June. It kind of bounces around in June. The first one was on D-Day, 6th June, and then it was on Father's Day, which was kind of cool. And then get your dad what he really wants, a ticket to Games Day.
Right.
But then it was Memorial Day was a little hard for some because that's people do a lot of family stuff. So our attendance of our regulars went down, but we got a lot of new people, so it was kind of cool. And next year,
interesting. You wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. Well, and some people had other plans, and it's okay. And we almost got locked into Memorial Day next year, but the place we stay at is at the Reed Center, and they said, well, we got this date, the 13th of June, or we got the 30th of June. And we said, well, I don't think the 13th of June is cool because the 13th of June is Mother's Day, and there's no way in heck I'll ever have a convention on Mother's Day.
Yeah, that's the opposite
I don't know,
of Father's Day.
The fishing opener in Minnesota is always Mother's Day, so it's kind of you get away with it here, but maybe not elsewhere.
So, but then the weekend after Mother's Day and the weekend before Memorial Day, the 18th, 19th, and 20th opened up. So we said, yeah, I'll take that. So next year, May 18th, 19th, and 20th, Warlord GamesCon, WGC, here in Oklahoma City, the Reed Center at Midwest City. It's really cool because we take over the whole second floor. It's got really good staff. There's a enclosed glass walkway from the Sheraton Hotel to the convention center, so you don't have to go outside at all. So you never have to be exposed to the elements. There's a restaurant in there. There's a nice bar. The staff is phenomenal, and it's a really good time. People are really starting to like it. And it's a really family-oriented event. We've got a Frontline Games and Mario and Melinda Smith come up from Texas, and their whole family comes up. Their kids come in. They help them set up the booth. The Smiths from here in Oklahoma City, Sylvia and Steve Smith, some of my Raiders. And you guys all know Sylvia from the videos, the blonde that we talk about. I don't know if you guys seen our videos on our Facebook page.
No,
guys,
I don't think I have.
Okay, you guys.
I feel bad saying that I haven't either, but I guess I'm not a social mediaite.
Sorry, okay. I have. I'm just checking. It's 11 and a half hours from Minneapolis to Oklahoma City driving. So
that was the Google search I did.
Just putting it out there.
Yeah. It's one day,
then I looked at airplane tickets and how much those cost.
Well, you can always bust it up. Stop over in Salt Lake City not Salt Lake City, St. Louis or Kansas City on the way down. I usually, when I go up to Adepticon, I stop in St. Louis for the. But it's 11 hours. I got guys driving from Utah, flying in from Colorado, but it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of family stuff. The Smiths come in. They're fantastic. Sylvia is our PR lady right now. She's been doing all our videos get about 4,000 hits at least in the first 24 hours. It was crazy.
Wow.
It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, if you go to our Facebook page, the WGC, or just look up a U.S. Warlord Demo Team on the Facebook, you'll find us. And all her videos are there, and we're starting to expand out to other podcasts and other videos. The Drop Pod we're starting to do a lot of work with, and miniature games I think we're doing some work with, and just doing a lot more exposure just to get the word out.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for coming on and spending some time with us. Now, the communication from Warlord that just came out had a nice write up about Russell's Raiders. Do you want to talk? You want to talk about your team a little bit?
Yeah. Well, when I was an outrider and when I did stuff for Forge World, there's a lot of people out there that want to play, and there's a lot of people out there that are really good at showing people how to play or answering questions. So when we go around to our events and there's tournaments, and my job is to go around the United States and North America and to go to tournaments and conventions. So it's a tough life, but somebody's got to do it. But
way to step up.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. Take one for the team.
Yep.
But we meet people, and there are certain people that we like, and we talk. And it takes you're asked to join to be a Raider. You don't ask to be a Raider. And I don't know if that sounds right. I don't want to try to be arrogant or anything, but it's just we're looking for a certain caliber of people to do our demos. And you got to be able to drive, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, 19 hours to do some of the stuff. And what we do is we go to conventions and tournaments, and we help run them, and we give prize support, and we do demos. Two of my guys, Dennis Johnston and Paul Long, were at Gen Con this year, and we teamed up with World of Tanks. Maybe you heard of these guys?
Yeah.
And both those guys were in a booth. We're in a tent at Gen Con on Friday, and they were running a modified version of Tank War that fit almost exactly what World of Tanks is like. So we took a map.
That's really clever, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we took 2 maps and terrain right out of their boards.
Yeah.
Ran tanks and modified the rules a little bit, and we ran
a little tank deathmatch.
Oh, yeah, tank death matches all day. And those guys were, I mean, it was tough work, being in the tent in Gen Con next to the beer tent. But, I mean, those guys took one for the team.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. And we had special little giveaway gifts, and we had little special packets and they had like a big event at 5 o'clock that night. And they had 250 VIP passes came in. We had VIP bags for them. And for the next 5 hours, they did nothing but played, killed tanks, drank beer, and had fun. So
a tank deathmatch is actually super clever. That might be a way. I mean, I'm just thinking about because at the club we sit around and we might have finished up with the bolt action or something else that we were playing. We got an hour and a half left over. A quick tank deathmatch might be a lot of fun actually.
Oh yeah.
Get hold of those rules or something.
Sure, you bet. Yeah. We'll get those out to you. We're starting to team up, and it was such a successful event that we're starting to do more and more World of Tanks. So you're going to start seeing us in World of Tanks at even more conventions and at weekend recreation events. Guys get dressed up and go play World War II stuff. We're going to start popping up there too. And because, I mean, everybody who does, well, not everybody, but a lot of people who are recreationists also game or model. Mm-hmm. And our models are pretty good. We pride ourselves in trying to be some of the best historical miniatures out there.
Sure.
And so that's what a Raider and us, we do. We had a full crew of 11 at Nova. And we all drove out or flew out, and is
that your entire team that went down?
Oh no.
Okay.
It's about 19, and
okay.
We're really picky and we're really slow. We don't want to build up real quick all of a sudden. Like 100 guys. It's we need to cover America when we're trying to cover America, and we're doing a good job. And there's certain areas we're looking for, the extreme west, California and Washington, and then the extreme east. New Jersey or Florida. I've got some guys up in New Hampshire, and I've got some guys in a little further south. We're looking for like Pennsylvania, but we're trying to find those guys, and it's a slow, meticulous process. A guy gets nominated. Hey, check this guy out. Some guy will say, hey, this guy Dale's pretty cool. We should check him out. So I said, okay. So another guy in the group will say, okay. I'll say, Bobby, go check out Dale. So one of our guys will float over to your table and start asking questions, stuff like that. And if you get through the second level, then your name's passed up to me, and I call you, and it's the old school. A lot of people think it's crazy, but I kind of like to talk to people on the phone, and I'll call the guy, and we'll have an interview for about an hour. I'll talk to the guy, and just, what do you paint? What do you like? What's your passion? What are you doing? And it's not, you got to have stuff done. We're not going to give you something and then say, okay, go paint this and let me see. No, it's you're a dude that's a dude or dudette. We've got some females, and it's you're known in the industry, you're known in the area, your store can nominate you, your friends can nominate you, but we're looking for people. But it's one of those, we get a lot of people saying, hey, I want to join. Well, yeah, that's nice, and your name will be put in the hopper, but it's not so crazy like the Masonics and late night temples and all that crazy stuff. There's
no rituals that you have to perform.
Well, yeah, there is.
He said it's not as crazy. So.
Yeah.
I'm in it for the Snuggies personally.
Yeah, exactly. There's,
you get to keep your clothes on. Okay.
Yeah. There's a little dice ceremony, but that's about it, really. But it's just one of those. We want to make sure that the right presentation of the Warlord mantra and the Warlord idea, best historical miniatures out there.
Sure.
And we have really good rules, and we don't care. There's a lot of World War II miniatures out there. You can't control an IP of World War II. Thompson's a Thompson's a Thompson. But as long as you use our rules, we really don't care what miniatures you use. You can use 70. We tell people, like the old Games Workshop stuff, Epic, 40K, and Inquisitor. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you use Flames of War miniatures for the big battle up to Cursed, and then a Prorokova, you can use our miniatures. And then if you really want to get crazy, get some, King and Country and do a squad to squad. There's some rules that we have for squad-on-squad action, which is a true skirmish game. We're trying to find a better name right now. It's called Playing with Single Men, but I mean, we're trying to get a little better. But it's
something a little less hands and pants.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you guys all play bolt action, so one squad, one activation dice.
Yep.
In the true skirmish, this what I'm talking about, all members of the squad get a dice. So everybody gets an action, and it's only about a squad on squad, maybe a light machine gun, nothing, no armor, but it's going to be a true commando skirmish kind of thing. So you could really, do a 20 millimeter, 28 millimeter, 54 millimeter game and hook it together, and we're working on stuff like that as well. But a raider is a guy that knows one or two systems, can answer some questions, knows what's coming out, knows what's going on, and can tell you where we're going to be.
Nice.
That's a raider.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be interested to find out who covers our area, so maybe we can plug him in and get a little bit of help out. So.
Whisper in our ears.
Seamus Harriman is up in your guys'
area? Over in
Chicago.
Okay.
Chicagoland. Yeah.
Seamus is one of ours, and so is Brent Sinclair.
No,
I don't know if I know Brett. So
he's the guy that does. He's got a big event coming out called Operation Sting.
Oh yeah, Sting down in Rockford.
Sure.
Yep.
I think that was
that's the weekend before Operation SNAFU, actually.
Yep.
Yep.
And then there's another guy down in Indiana and in Illinois. Dennis Johnson and Paul Long are up in your guys' area as well.
Okay. Awesome. Very, very good. Maybe we'll get them to stop by for Renegade or something. Maybe do some demos, spaces like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Now, and that was a big thing we had. Not only, Gen Con is the Mac Daddy. I get that. That's the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some guys go out there to help them. Didn't expect to run into Warlord game World of Tanks, but they asked us about 30, 45 days out, and we said, well, hell yeah, we'll do that. But we were going to be there to help sell at the War Store and also to promote Blood Red Sky. So my guys just happened to be there, and it all kind of, the last stars lined up, and it was all perfect, and we had a great time with World of Tanks, and so did they. So, we're doing more and more with them because it's fantastic stuff.
That sounds
it works.
Really cool. How far out is that?
Well, that was Gen Con, yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It was really far out. I mean, it all lined up, and those guys at World of Tanks were super cool, and it was a lot of fun. We gave a lot of prize support out and just had a ball. We're really looking forward to doing more with that. And that's what's great about gaming. We go around, travel around the United States. We run into some really cool people. Ran into a lot of great people and new friends out there in Nova, and met some new distributors. And we rolled out there with our canteen and picked up some new people who want to carry their stuff. There's a guy that's got a great table. This guy next to us, we had some really cool people sitting next to us. This guy's there. He's an older gentleman like me, and he's selling a game table. And it's the parameters were that his 12-year-old daughter had to be able to fold it up, pick it up, carry it 100 yards, and then set it back up again. And all of us have need for a table somewhere in our house. We got to be able to set up a gaming table. And this guy came up with this table with aluminum and metal, and it's phenomenal. And this little girl picked it up, walked across the room, set it up again, and we're like, oh, that's really cool. So, I mean, we ran into that, and we ran into some great guys with some gaming companies, and that's a lot of fun. A lot of cross-fertilization was going on, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, the cross-promotion opportunities are, if you can find them, make a ton of sense, because you're right, there is a lot of crossover. I play video games, I'm aware of World of Tanks and the bolt action thing, and so it is a lot of fun, and it's easier to make an impact and grow that audience when you can take advantage of those kinds of opportunities.
Well, exactly, Dale. What's really, I love video games too, but after 4 hours, turn it off. All you got is like electrons somewhere stored. But you spend 4 hours painting a tank.
You at least got that tank.
You got that tank, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's a lot of fun. But
definitely, absolutely.
So I guess.
There's one thing about hopping into Chiha and World of Tanks and running around and getting killed because I'm old and I'm not any good. But
yeah, exactly.
And also, the Chiha's technically a tank cat, but it works out in the end. It's still a good time.
Yeah, and in a roundabout way, hopefully I answered your question about what a raider is and what we do and what
absolutely.
we like to do.
So how long has the raider? How long have the raiders been running, and what does that look like moving forward now?
Well, we've been in the shadows for about 3 years, working on slow but sure, doing inquiries here and there. We're just about ready to break 20 individuals, but officially we've been on the books since 1 August.
Okay.
So that's kind of this year. This one we kind of took the blinders off and opened ourselves up to the world and started really showing our videos and
the grand reveal.
The grand reveal, yes,
Okay.
was
that's
in August.
Relatively recent then.
Yeah,
so
we did.
So Nova Open was the big coming out party then.
Was the big coming out party? Yeah, in the month of November, we did 4 conventions. We did Maneuvers Con in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then the guys did Gen Con in Indianapolis, and then we went up to Recruits at Lee's Summit, Missouri, and then we did Nova Open. So we had 4 conventions in the month, and Nova was the big party. That was a lot of fun. Great people up there, Nova, Michelle, Laura, and Michael Bryant, and Dewey and his son, Kieran. It was great people and great time, and yeah, that was kind of our big time.
All right, and based on the write up and what I saw, it looked like it was actually a great time and really successful. So
yeah, it was a good time.
All right, congratulations. So
Thank
what
you.
have you got? What have you got moving ahead now in regards to, this is likely. I think we talked about this maybe coming out. So what's it look like in October? Well, how about the rest of the year? What do you guys have planned?
October, we've got ClawCon up in Missouri, up in the name of that escapes me now. Not Lee Summit, but if you Google ClawCon, CLAWCON con. It's up in Missouri. That's going to be the 6th, 7th, and 8th of October. And then
it's in St. Roberts.
St. Roberts, yeah, thank you. It was St. something. I just couldn't remember. Thank you. Your Google search is better than mine.
Well, I've got the Warlord newsletter open, and I can just
Good.
click on it. So
good. And then
my parents live down there, so
there you go. We'll be there. That's Eric Fontaine and his crew. There was nothing there 6 months ago, and Eric has now come up with this huge tournament and convention and prize support, and it's really something to see, and I'm really excited to get up there with our crew. Then the next weekend, the 14th and 15th of October, I'll be over for the Warlord Open Day and HQ in Nottingham, so I'll be over there for that. And there's a big buzz of the special miniature over there. Of course, I'm sure you've seen that picture.
Yeah, they just came out.
Yeah, so they're talking about that's going to be a fun little miniature to get a hold of.
Wait,
I was considering how to get my hands on that one.
Which
Actually,
miniature is this? I missed it.
It's just
how
a
could
flesh
you miss
wound.
this?
It's just
a flesh wound.
Are you talking the Black Knight?
I can't
Yes.
say that word over the internet, but I could certainly say that it's something like that. Yes.
Okay, some IP involvement there. I sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're talking about maybe putting magnets on his arms and stuff so you can take them off and on and stuff. But it's going to be a fun conversion figure.
Bite your kneecaps off.
Exactly. And then we've got November is going to be MillenniaCon down in Round Rock, Texas. And then, let's see, I know I'm missing one in there somewhere. There's, I should have grabbed my calendar. They're always we get more and more added, tournaments or conventions. That's the main ones right now.
Okay.
And then, of course, LVO, we're going to be at Las Vegas Open in February. Adepticon in March. And then there's another convention down here, TwisterCon. And then there's Warlord Games Con in June, and Gen Con, and we're going to try to do about 20 conventions every year in some form or fashion.
Wow, I really don't get out very much.
Yeah. Thank God there's more than just me. And we always encourage everybody, hey, if you want us to show up at your event, try to get a hold of one of us 45 days out. We'll try to get you in the schedule. If we can't get somebody there, we'll try to get some kind of prize support or something special for you guys to give out. We also run a special that if we're coming to your convention, if you give us an order 30 days before the event, we'll give you 15% off, and there's no shipping because you pick it up at our booth. And then we also have the special that if we don't find it at our booth, we give you 10% off if you order it and pay for it that day, and if it's over $25, we give you free shipping as well.
So when your involvement actually is in it's not just limited to maybe running some games, but you actually have a retail aspect that you show up with.
Roll the
awesome.
store, yeah. So we try to roll in there, and it's nice bringing as much as we can. I mean, I only have a pickup truck, and there's 7,000 items on our computer inventory list, so we
I
can't
can
carry
kill
it
in the
all.
afternoon scrolling through that website. So.
Oh yeah, and I just don't have a CDL license yet, So what we try to do is carry as much as the core stuff as we can.
Right.
But again, if there's something you're looking for, like that Xylos gulper that you've been dying to have, we don't carry a lot of those with us when we go around. But hey, you pay for it today, and I'll send it to you, free shipping because it's over $25, and 10% off.
Awesome. Well, is it 10 or 15? Because it was 15.
If it's a pre-order before the event, it's 15% off.
There you go.
If you get the order to me, and then I'll have it waiting for you. I'll have, here's Rick's box. Here you go, Rick. And you walk up and you pay for it, and you can walk away with 15% off and no shipping.
Awesome.
And that's anything. And now that's for anything in the Warlord website. We just there's a lot of stuff on there, and we just can't carry it all. So it's 15% off a pre-order.
If you were coming up to Renegade, and I said, I'm looking for a Blood Red Sky starter, I'd be able to pick it up.
That's another story. Blood Red Sky.
Try to sneak in there a little bit.
That was good. If you pre-order that's going to be ready for Christmas.
Okay.
And then otherwise you have to wait till February. But I do have 2 demo kits, and it's a very, very fun game.
That's where the pre-order advantage is.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't coming out till January for sure.
Yeah, January, February
January
for sure. But if you pay for it now, you'll get it at Christmas.
Okay. So if you give me a hamburger today, I'll gladly pay you again.
Pay you Tuesday.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's kind of crazy is the guys did over 50 or 60. No, they did at Gen Con the first day, that Thursday, they did over 20 or 30 demos, and then Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they probably did over 100 demos. And everybody who came up or everybody who watched it, after they were told the rules in about 5 or 10 minutes. Boom! They were learning and playing it, and every game took maybe no more than 45 minutes.
Huh.
And it's the Blood Red Skies is a different airplane game. We all like playing airplane games. We all like it. It's a lot of fun. But you start getting into who's higher than the other person? What's your altitude? What's your rate? How much you can? Andy Chambers has been working on this. Yeah, that Andy Chambers, Overfiend. That who's also wrote our East Front book and who also did some other work for us and some other stuff. Has been working on this for 7 years, and what he's boiled down all this stuff to 3 little components. It's advantaged,
right?
Neutral,
and disadvantaged.
Disadvantaged, and this little I call it the I shouldn't call it this, but I call it the toilet plunger stand. because
the model tilts, right?
Yes, it tilts.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it goes forward, backwards, or stands straight up. So it can rotate like that. But at a glance, if the guy's disadvantaged, advantaged, or neutral. And you can't, disadvantaged guys can't shoot. I mean, we released the rules out there on PDF form.
Yeah, which is a great idea in my opinion.
Yeah.
I did actually read through those already.
Yeah, and it's not about shooting down planes. It's about doing boom chips. Now, people are like, well, boom chips. Why would, if you think about it, Battle of Britain, the British just wanted to make the Germans go away.
Yeah.
If they shot them down, great. But if they made the bombers turn around, it was a win. So if you get 6 airplanes, and I give you 6 or 7 boom chips, you're done. You turn around. Regardless if I shot you down or not, I've damaged you enough. Like, if you think the boom chips as a pin marker, it really clicks.
Sure.
And people start thinking, oh, that makes more sense.
In fact, that's exactly what I thought when I read the rules.
Yep.
I was like, so pin them out. Yep, that makes sense.
Pin them out. So it's a lot of fun. We played it a lot at Nova. It's going to come out with a bunch of more stuff. There's, Aces have a whole nother advantage and can do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, they got like different pilot cards and stuff with them too, right?
And activation cards and scenario cards, just like our Test of Honor game, kind of, sort of. But it's really, really well thought out. A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting even more stuff on it when I go over in October. It's a really fun game. And they're working on tying it in to bolt action, but right now it's set up for Battle of Britain. But then we also have the Russians, the Japanese, and the British, and the Americans and the Germans.
Two questions I got in that, John.
Yes, go ahead.
First one, Are the models pre-painted?
No, the
Okay.
British are brown and the 109s are gray.
Okay, so there's not
1/200
like
scale.
Okay, and then did you say when the pre-registration closes, or do you know?
The pre-order.
The
The pre-order,
yes.
I think it'll probably close about November, end of November.
End of November.
Yeah, and then they'll be shipped out December, late December, and then otherwise it'll be open to the world January, February.
Now, is that
Okay.
shipping from the UK? Because I know
Yep,
trying to
yep.
get something from the UK over the holidays is,
Yep.
doesn't
Yeah, that's why
really
I say
happen.
late December. That's why they say
Yeah.
late December. But they've gotten really good with. That was one of the things they noticed. The customer service from the UK is phenomenal. You call that number, you talk to Harry, James, or Lorenzo Paula, and those guys are phenomenal. And then Richard Carlisle as well. All three of those guys are on the phone waiting for you guys. They take orders, but they also take your submissions, and they'll run it down. They're a great bunch of guys. They'll fix your problems real quick, and they noticed that the one of the weak links in Warlord games was shipping. So they put a lot of effort and time and money to. I've put orders in on a Sunday night, Monday morning, and got it by Friday.
Wow, that's a great turnaround. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I
They're
would
shooting.
say in the last year that the shipping time has cut down dramatically.
We're trying to shoot for a 3 to 5 day window now from the UK.
That's great.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's helping out a lot. And we're some growing pains. We've only been in existence for 10 years. This is our 10th year anniversary, and we've got over 7,000 products. We've got 5 core main games. Test of Honor came out in March, and we've already sold it out twice, and we're on our 3rd run.
Wow.
It's a very intriguing game. It looks very cool.
It's a lot of fun. Some people call it, and I've heard it said it's almost a beer and pretzel game. I say almost a sushi and sake game. But it's got enough hook of a role-playing game, and it's got enough hook as an action. It's got a lot of, I call it cinematic effect. If you closed your eyes, you could see the movie play out in front of you.
Yeah, and there's
with
some
the-
real storytelling there, too, I think.
Oh, it's just $50, 35 miniatures. $50,
Not bad.
35 miniatures.
That's really good.
And then there's some 2D terrain and all the dice you need. And then the booster packs, for lack of a better word, is anywhere from $24 to $36. And you get mounted samurai, female mounted samurai. We just released this month a particular box of 7 types of guys that we can get into later, but they look awfully familiar, and they take care of villages real nice. But and they can release some rules now for fighting in buildings, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it just keeps selling out and selling out. People, we sold it out at Nova, we sold it out at Adepticon. Every time we go someplace, if we have the main game, it sells out every time.
Great. Well, I mean, if you can't keep it on the shelf, that's a good indicator that you're
Well,
doing
and-
something right.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, and you guys had mentioned something earlier, too, about it's good when you get done with your bolt action game. It's very, very malleable. I'll say, okay, Pat, hey, look, let's play Test of Honor. How much time we got? Pat says, we got 45 minutes. Okay, cool, let's do 5 points. And then I'll be talking with Rick. I say, hey, Rick, let's do some Test of Honor. How much time we got? About 3 hours. Okay, let's play 15, 20 points. So you can change the size and shape of your band, your war band, to meet your time needs. And there's a role-playing element as your samurai battles. He learns and gains experience and wounds and knowledge, and he can grow his card deck, and he can actually, who cares about the commoners? But the samurai lives on. He's never really killed. He's just cut down, and then he survives.
That's a very samurai attitude.
Oh yeah, very Bushido, right? It's,
Yes.
Andy Hobday and Richard Carlisle and Graham Davey really put a lot of work into this, and it's very dear and near.
So many games and so little time.
Oh,
Right.
exactly. Yeah,
Just want to
exactly.
play with all the toys. Is that so wrong?
Exactly, Pat. Well, and then you've got, it all started out with Black Powder, and then Pike and Shot, and then Hail Caesar, and then Bolt Action. Bolt Action is the #1 all-time seller of any Osprey books in the history of Osprey.
That's great.
And it is a sexy book. The rule book is very sexy, and I usually call rule book sexy, but you start flipping through that bolt action book, and you've got the Osprey plates, and you've got those good looking miniatures, and they set it into that historical look, and it's a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears went into that book, and it's one of my favorite rule books.
Yeah, the payoff is great in the end. It's a fantastic book. So,
what was with the printing that it makes me feel like I'm trying to remove a smudge from about every third page?
Exactly. Isn't that nice? Well, and that's what's cool about. You can look through the rule book for Blood Red Skies, and they throw that old '40s line art and the Coca-Cola ad in there. It puts that feel in the book, or Test of Honor, or even Project Z had those blood splatters every once in a while.
Okay.
It makes you want to look through that rule book. Gates of Antares is another great one.
Yeah, it really plays into how you feel about it's an experience. It's not just you're not just reading the rules, but all that extra little color and the effects, and they're small little things, but they actually make a really big difference in the end.
Attention to detail is fantastic, and the Gates of Antares, Rick Priestley, another big name in the industry. Black Powder is done by Rick Priestley and Jervis Johnson. Not pretty damn big names in the industry, and because they're buddies with John Stollard, and hell yeah, why don't you come over? John Stollard and Paul Sawyer stood up Warlord Games 10 years ago, and it's their baby, and they're doing great. And then they know some friends in the industry, and they got these guys writing these games. Alessio Cavator did the Bolt Action 2. Now, a lot of people when Bolt Action 2 were worried, everybody's like, oh God, here comes Codex creep. Here it comes. Because we've all been conditioned by a certain company to expect something to change every 2-3 years. And, oh God, now my stuff isn't relevant anymore. I got to go buy new damn books.
Yeah.
And we were very, very aware of that. But you guys got to agree with me. After 5 years, the warts are going to show. Warts and all are going to show in that Bolt Action first edition, and we had to update it. But when we updated it, we went through. We took a lot of people's input. We did a lot of play testing, and I'm pretty happy with those rules. And we only changed one army book, and we had to change that army book because it was the first one, the German army book, and the German army book didn't match or compare to the other rule books.
Yeah, it's considerably underpowered compared.
Yes, considerably. But now it's on par. So, we don't want to do Codex creep. We don't like Codex creep. But
we don't either.
Yeah.
No,
and it's just
don't.
It's one of the few things that actually appealed about the World War II setting is just because there's no such thing as, there's no chaos or some other game like that.
Right,
you can't just keep making stuff up. You guys can't make stuff up.
That would be Conflict 47.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it's a different game.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Bolt Action Conflict 47 is you can make your U.S. Army squad, okay, U.S. Army squad, and now add heavy infantry or add a little bit of...
Or add a walker.
Add a walker, and boom, you got K-47.
Yep.
And we're also working on, me and a couple of the guys are working on, we've done a couple play tests, and we're going to do a couple more, and it's either going to come out in a PDF format, or if it's really, really popular like the Australians, come out in a book format. We're working on Korea, and we've been doing a lot of work with Korea, and it's not that far from Bolt Action. You're still using M1s, you're still using Thompsons, and you're using all the late war stuff, and it's really working well. We just got to get the jets involved and take care of some things, but so far it's been a lot of fun.
Get some Harriers coming through there.
And helicopters. Yep,
the Hueys and maybe some offshore bombardment. So.
Yep. So we're working on it slow but sure. We're also working on I'm working on a thing called Raiders Attack. Every major combatant had a special forces type unit. The Americans had the 1st Special Service Force, which is a joint commando team with the Canadians. We have the commandos. We have the Russian boat service. You have the Japanese airborne. You have the Russian airborne. You have the Brandenburgers. And all those guys had those special one-off units. And we'll take the rules from the back of the New Guinea book about night attacks and raids, and we'll throw in that, playing with single men stuff, and it'll be a PDF or a book format, and it's just some of those little, Operation Chariot. I've got a table. We did that at Warlord Games Con 2. I did a table for Operation Chariot, which was the HMS Campbelltown ramming the docks of St. Nazaire. And that turned out to be really fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, and it was great. I've been tweaking it ever since, and now I've got a really nice boat model to put in there, and it's really a lot of fun. And that's one of the things, like the old games days, that you come to see these killer boards that people put a lot of time and effort in. And that's what we kind of alluded to earlier about the grand tournaments as well. And I think I talked to Pat about this. If anybody runs a tournament, and they let me know about it, and we can get it squared away, and there's more than 16 players, it becomes a sanctioned event. John, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Excellent,
and
Dale.
The other key in there was to let John know about it.
That's the key. You let me know about it. And if it's over 16 people, it becomes a sanctioned event. And what that means is the overall winner of your event, the top dog, number one Uno, he'll get from me a golden dog tag. What is that? The golden dog tag will have his name etched into it, his army etched into it, and where he won it etched into it. And if that person presents that golden dog tag at Adepticon, he gets in for free. He doesn't get into the tournament for free. He still has to pay for the tournament because we need to get you registered and everything like that. But you get into Adepticon for free, and you're entered into the Grand National Tournament.
So now,
Daddy.
because logistics is a little bit of my thing. So I'm thinking about, Adepticon, having to register. Now, you usually prepay your registration. Now, what you're saying is if I walk up and have my dog tag, I wouldn't... You don't pay the
$25. Yeah,
okay.
I've worked...
So it's a general admission.
General admission. Get in for free. Yep.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, the dog tags, they're going to be pretty cool, too. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. They're,
okay.
I get them from here local. We get them sprayed up and taken care of and printed out. Well, not printed. We get them stamped, etched here, and then we send them out to the guys. Yep.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I liked doing grand tournaments back in Games Day time, and I liked going to grand tournaments, and I liked I've been doing this for, over 30 years, and I remember a lot of the contention and the heated discussions and loud discussions in some of the 40K and Warhammer games, and the idiocy and lunacy and the insanity. I mean, some of these guys spend a lot of time painting them, but then they get really hung up on rules and stuff. And all the times of the last 5 or 6 years of doing bolt action tournaments and Gates of Antares tournaments and Test of Honor tournaments, I have yet to hear of some guy throwing his army across the room. I've yet to hear of some guy really yelling at an opponent. In fact, I've heard the opposite. I've heard so many times at tournaments, guys will say, "Oh, hey, you forgot to shoot those guys." "Oh, you're right, thank you." Or, "Oh, how about your tank? If he did this and this." "Oh, thanks." Nobody has gone ape crazy. I don't know what the rating of this pod is, but nobody goes ape shit over.
You're fine saying that word, yeah.
the rules like they did in 40K. I mean, my God, people
I think we all grew up a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like you said before, the historical gamer is a little different, and and once you say, "Hey, man, how about this and this?" "Oh, you're right, thank you, and I'm sorry." It's really, really nice.
I think that's more of a promoting the sportsmanship behind it. That's really been more recent.
And I will say in the Midwest at least, as far as that's gone, like sportsmanship has always played a big role. So we've always had kind of a good scene. There's always that one time that some guy did this one thing, and
there's been
watched,
there's been a couple, but it's certainly the exception and not the norm.
Yeah,
I think the community here, at least in bolt action, is great so far.
It's been nothing but stellar in my eyes. So
and we love it. John Starr loves it, and Paul Sawyer loves it. And Paul came out for Adepticon this last year and had a ball. It hadn't been there for 15 years, and it was fun walking him around and seeing just how much Adepticon had changed in 15 years. And he was at the first one, and now he's at the 15th one. And we're working on getting some of the guys out for our convention. And even if we don't get them out in person, we can get them out in Skype, and we're going to start doing Skypes. The second Warlord Games convention, we had pulled a ton of strings, and we were able to get that declared Warlord Games Day in the state of Oklahoma by the state Congress.
Wow.
And we had an official little proclamation and stuff, and we got it all printed up, so we read it off to them, and they were freaking out, and Stoller's got it on his wall in his office still to this day. But
awesome.
It's a lot of fun, and it's just it's a fun game system. I like running around the country seeing people and some of the things they come up with. I mean, I've seen some beautifully painted armies. A guy did his British army with bobbies and a cricket team, and it was all early war British. It was beautiful. And then I've seen some killer Japanese tables and some Japanese, and then Finns and Romanians and Hungarians and Italians, and it's just. Then you go into K-47 and you got all that crazy stuff, and our Resurgence is coming out. You know, we can talk about some stuff that's coming out.
Well, hold on before we jump into that.
Yeah.
With all your traveling, running around, and promoting the games that we love, do you play bolt action? I mean, do you have a regular group? I mean, how do you get that? How do you get that to? How do you still hobby when kind of the hobby can be your job? How do you balance that?
I don't paint enough as I should.
None of us do.
I just finished up my barnyard finally. I finished up my cows and my horses for my Operation Sea Lion stuff. But I have everything but Japanese and Marines. I've got a German army and a British army and a Polish airborne army, German early late.
All right, so which one's your first love then?
Oh, the Poles. But they were near dear in my heart, and that's.
So do you play them like as partisan or?
Oh no, I play early war.
Early war. Okay.
Yep, and then of course the airborne. And now that you got that plastic sprue is brilliant. The new British airborne sprue. I don't know if you guys have seen it or looked at it.
I've seen it, and unfortunately, I already have 60 some of the metal ones. I'm not. I really wish
the
that.
British?
The British paratroopers. Yeah. I did a big Operation Market Garden, the last big GT we did in June, and then about 2 weeks after that, and I was done with all of them. Then you guys brought these out, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
But Pat, what do you have for the Polish airborne?
There's something to be said for that. British is the only army I currently have.
Yeah, well, see, but the British airborne sprue, the upper left 5 heads are British. The upper right 5 heads are Polish. And they have the correct Polish berets and the symbol on the hat and the mustaches. So that sprue is both British and Polish. So they macked it out so you could run either or. So
that's really cool.
Oh yeah, when I saw that sprue and Paul showed it to me and he showed me the heads, I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So now we've got plastic British or Polish paras. So it's fantastic.
All right, I'm looking right now.
The upper left and the upper right heads are different. 5 are British and 5 are Polish. The beret's bigger. The symbol on the beret is the eagle, not the British horse. It's just, I was like, oh my God, we're living in a golden age of miniatures right now, gentlemen.
Yeah, we really are.
We really are spoiled.
It's so much now that this plastic stuff is coming out. I mean, and it's my first love is probably Germans, because I mean that's what I started with. Did a lot of those, and I really like it, and I keep expanding them, and I just don't have enough Germans to paint. And then I get really stupid by magnetizing their kit so I can take them off and make them Luftwaffe airborne or naval guys from, like example, my Operation Chariot. I was painting up some guys that could remove their kit so they could become naval troops instead of army troops, because they were basically the same stuff. They just didn't have all the kit. And then the Fallschirmjäger, and I just got a bunch of Gebirgsjägers finished. So I got a big old company of mountain
Don't ask us
now.
to pronounce that, but yes.
Yeah, I'm awful when I say that one.
Yeah, I got a whole company now, 3 squads plus some medium machine guns now for my mountain troops. And I just got to find out where to play them.
That's fun.
But the Sea Lion and the Gigant or Gigant is of course a deviation from our true historical. And I don't know if you guys have looked through the Gigant or the Sea Lion, but there's some comical fun stuff in there.
There is.
The roller skates really stuck to me.
That was my favorite too.
Well, the roller skates, but have you guys looked through the Gigant rule book yet?
No.
It's got that's the northern invasion.
Yeah, that's
the
Sea Lion Part 2.
That's Part 2.
Yeah.
Right, with the Fliegerpanzer, the Panzer ones with wings, and the rugby troops and the soccer troops and the cricket troops.
Yep.
The cricket team's got 2 different kinds of ballers they can throw, fast or slow. You can get around terrain if you do fast, and if you do slow, you can get a bigger hit. There's the rugby team that does a close combat assault tackle, and then there's the soccer team gets an extra run if they're still dribbling the soccer ball. It's just crazy stuff. But the Flugpanzer is kind of like, what the heck is this? But it's, if you think about it, physics and it works, but why would you? But it's just, it's funny and it's a lot of fun. And of course, getting Churchill with Thompson is hilarious.
Yeah,
yeah,
and he won't run. Yeah, Churchill doesn't run.
Yeah. So did you find those heads?
Yeah, I got distracted. I got distracted by the Tank War bundles again.
Ah, Tank War, yes. That's our big release this fall. Tank War and Resurgent for 40K47.
I'd heard rumor that there's a plan to do a Tank Wars 2 book.
Yeah. We're gonna start doing some more Tank War stuff, and how fortuitous that. Oh, look, we're working with World of Tanks now as well. So it's
that kind of fell together, didn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of. Now, John Stoller had been working on those guys for 3 years, and it just all kind of fell into place finally. And
my dad always said there's no such thing as coincidence, just plans other people didn't tell you about.
Exactly, and it's really starting to take off. We're doing a lot more tank stuff. It's a lot of fun. Tank War is a lot of fun. It puts the armored platoon in there, and now you guys can really have fun with Fury, if you want to. And that's, whether you love or hate that movie, it's kind of near and dear to my heart because one of my World War II veterans was a consultant for that movie. If you watch the extra credits, there's a guy in there called Paul Ander. They called in 4 guys to help consult with that, 3 armored and 1 infantry, and Paul was the only infantry guy. And he's actually came and spoke at Warlord Games Day. We had him out, our second one, and he came and talked for like an hour.
Oh,
People
cool.
were mesmerized. Yeah, he started out when he was 17 in North Africa.
A lot of the guys did.
Yeah, 3 Bronze Stars. 3 Purple Hearts, 2 Bronze Stars, and 1 Silver Star.
Phew, wow.
Yeah, and 5 campaign medals. So
he was busy.
Yeah, and he's great. He comes and loves talking, and he's one of the consultants. If you watch the extra stuff on that Fury, you'll see him in there. But now with Tank War, you can really have some fun with that stuff. You could really, really just expand up your armor platoons, and why not?
That's a little farther than we are. We're in 1941 right now, still with just pure bolt action, and I think we've got the original Tank War book, and although I'm not a big collector as a Japanese, my tanks aren't outstanding. But how many tanks are you sitting at now, Paul or Pat? What are you at? Like 9?
Oh, I passed 9 a long time ago.
Yeah, so
if you count the German tanks that I was planning to use for terrain, but now might be developing a German army out of, I think I'm at 14.
Yeah, I'm not counting my tanks that I'm using for terrain. That would put me at a pretty high number, but okay.
So yeah, but British tanks that that have painted and consider usable, I'm at probably 11.
Okay.
Nice.
Jeez.
Nice.
All right.
Some would say I have a problem, but they're awesome.
Well, we don't die till we paint it all, so we're gonna all live forever.
Right, exactly. And I will take it with me.
And quite honestly, that is one of the other things I commend Warlord for, is that I feel like their models are more economical.
Well, we really turned a corner, Rick, I think, when our new box sets were coming out with, like the KV1, KV2. And you guys looked at that. That's, oh my God. That box just blew my mind when I first looked at it. You get the KV1 and the KV2 in there. Rubicons are beautiful models, don't get me wrong, but they give you 1 turret ring.
Yeah.
Our tanks, you can do both turrets, and that KV1, KV2 set comes with 3 little puff balls of black, red, and yellow, so you can immobilize whatever. Decals for Russian or Finnish, and 8 tank riders for $32. Damn. And now
that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and now all of our tanks that we're starting to come up with are going to have those data cards, those cool little data cards in them. So all the new stuff has been retooled to show those new data cards. So it's a lot of fun.
All right, John. So in addition to the Tank War and the Resurgence, is there anything else that we can look forward to as far as bolt action goes coming
bolt
out?
Action, bolt action. We got K-47, which is the Japanese and the Finns, and that stuff's really starting to hit now. And then we've got the Tank War stuff in the October-November time frame. Plastic SS.
I think I remember hearing something about maybe some new French stuff coming too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. But the Plastic SS are coming out. We've got some more tanks in bundles.
Okay.
We've got, and I think every year Warlord Games likes to come out with something a little extra at Christmas. The first one we ever did was Rorik's Drift. and then we did Pegasus Bridge,
Yeah.
and then we did La Haute Sainte. Well, the rumors that I'm hearing now this Christmas, it's either going to be Stalingrad or Berlin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it'll be a box set. It'll be a box set like Rurik's Drift or La Haute Sainte or Pegasus Bridge. And it's gonna be
I do have the Pegasus Bridge one, and that's got a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah. So that's the. I'll find out more next month when I go over to talk to the guys for a week.
Yeah,
but
because
that's
so those will have like in addition to like just the terrain, it'll have miniatures and some scenarios and stuff like that to go through.
Just like Pegasus Bridge.
Yeah, that was
like
really
some
cool.
plastic SS.
Yeah, like plastic SS. Yeah.
That
Man,
really
some
put
Berlin
hooks-
stuff. That would be, man, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. And Stalingrad, that's pretty iconic itself. I mean,
Yeah.
we have one of our friends is trying to work on a Stalingrad table. He would be over the moon if that happens. So
He needs to get a hold of a guy named Tony Rieger out in New Hampshire area in Connecticut. They have an event called Huzzah, and it was a week before our event, so we couldn't get up there. I couldn't get up, but I sent one of my raiders up there, and they had been working for a year on Stalingrad, and they had the train station, they had the barricada, they had the Pavlov's house.
Sure.
And they had, and a guy did it all in MDF, and he sells
Really?
it now.
Wow.
And, yeah, it's
I might have
Things from the
seen
Basement.
that actually.
Things
Yep.
from
Yes.
the basement. Yep.
Yeah.
And they sell it now, and I've got Pavlov's house here. Oh
It's
my
pretty
God.
amazing kid, isn't it?
What a kid! What a kid! But I mean,
Jeez, I could only imagine.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. We're gonna do an unboxing and we're gonna build it and show people. But those guys did phenomenal work, and it was just something else.
Man, I'd love to paint that thing up. That would
yeah.
be. It's like 4 levels. It's in 3 separate sections.
4
separate sections.
Yeah. There's 2
Oh, yeah,
centers. There's a destroyed center, an end, and then another and a clean end. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
and it all comes apart, and it all has levels, so you can expand it out. It all comes
And they're
apart.
detailed. They're
Yeah.
detailed levels too. It's
3 weeks or 4 weeks before they went live, they found out that they had the wrong style border on the what was it? Railing. They had the wrong railing on the wrong side of the house, or the wrong type, so they had to retool it all. And they redid it because they saw a picture from the museum in Russia, and they retooled that kit so it matches exactly to Pavlov's
yeah,
house.
it's
Talk about rivet counting. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, on that stuff, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But
super
that's the
impressive.
stuff for bolt action. For Black Powder, we got 1812 coming out, and all the stuff around 1812 here and over in Europe,
Okay.
leading up to, of course, Napoleon, and all that stuff that just hit all this month, and then of course Blood Red Skies.
all right. I'll be interested to see if Warlord or how they're able to work the Blood Red Skies tie into bolt action, because
Yeah.
we saw that, and we were talking about how, you know what, maybe you do those linked battles or scenarios where one can impact the other, and how that would be really interesting. So
Well, and there's a lot of room to grow, because Blood Red Skies right now is Battle of Britain, so it tie into maybe Sea Lord, Sea Lion, or
Yeah.
Gigon.
definitely
But-
tie in those.
But with the Russians and the Japanese and the Americans, George Preddy was World War II Battle of the Bulge. That's where he was shot down and killed. So there's got to be a tie in there, because that's how he was shot down and killed, was friendly anti-aircraft, which is a rule in bolt action. When there's a reason why it's there, because if you talk to any World War II guy, they said, "Well, hell yeah, we shot at every damn airplane that flew over."
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they didn't know. I mean, yeah, they did. I mean,
And there was a chance one of your friendly aircraft was going to blow you up anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
It kind of goes
Exactly.
both ways. Yeah.
So I'm sure we're going to come up with
Especially
with some
when
kind of
when Pat's calling to them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm sure that we're going to have some kind of tie-in, and it, just like our campaign modules, which is really great. We've done, we did Eastern Front, Western Front, Pacific, and then we did specific battles. New Guinea. Now we're starting to do. And
Yeah, the New Guinea book is amazing. Really, really
Yeah.
excited
But-
about that one.
But there's one thing wrong with the New Guinea book.
I don't know. What's that?
Next time you look through it, Dale, tell me where New Guinea is in that book.
It's all about Australia.
Well, there's no map.
And
there's no map in that book. And I pointed that out to the guys in the UK, and you're like, oh my God.
You know what? I hadn't even thought about that. But
there's no map in the New Guinea book. So,
which is actually something you look for typically because you kind of want to know where all the battles occurred.
Exactly. So, what we're thinking about, I'm going to press more hard on those guys when I see them next month. Why can't Warlord do an Osprey-backed map book and have all the main battles of bolt action in one book?
Well, if the maps also include like the troop movements and stuff like that would actually be really
books.
cool.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would
had
be very
like
cool.
the different years and where the influence was. I know
Like
when
K-47.
when we're doing our campaign game at the club, we're in 1940, and now we're just starting to get into Africa, and the guy Jeff throws out a name of a place. I'm like, where in the crap is that? So then I'm having to figure it out and check the Google and find the maps there. I don't have one big source to go to for all this stuff. That'd be
and
really
then go
cool.
read the Wikipedia article about that particular battle
And hope that is correct.
Yeah, there might be.
Well, we need those campaign tie-ins to get the special rules. So.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, and there might be some plastic British coming out here pretty soon that are the East Indies, and you might be able to use those. You might be able to use those for your desert rats. Not that I'm saying that might happen, but I'm just saying.
The trick is, once I'm done with my boards for Operation SNAFU, then my hobby, queue is much smaller, so I'll be looking for something. And the New Guinea book came out, and I love the Australian rules, and we just talked about the partisan rules for the partisan army, and I'm just like, something comes out, and I'm like, ooh, nice. Oh, what about this? Ooh, I like that. So we'll have to see.
Well, and if you ever need inspiration, you always dig into your old ASL. You're going to dig out those old scenarios from there. There's one in there I want to do. It's got, from Skull Squad Leader, it's a Russian partisan unit that's getting attacked by some SS mounted, the Florin Gray, and they get resupplied and reinforced by Russian airborne troops.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. I was one of my other friends, gaming friends, not miniature gaming friends, my video gaming friends, who I've known for years and years and years. It turns out that he's a big advanced squad leader player, and so he heard about the podcast and he's been listening. And so I'm going to meet up with him later on this year. So I'll be talking some advanced squad leader with him. Maybe I can see what he's into. That's
you can always do
interesting.
that. Yeah, you pull out that first board and say, okay, look, this is what it looks like on the board. If you step over here, oh, look, here's the terrain that matches that board. How about you feel it and see it and move it around the dudes instead of that little counter chip?
Well, it's baby steps. It's a little bit of a feeder program, but we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Cool. But yeah, that's what I know what's coming out, and I'm always willing to talk to you guys again and fill you in what I know and what's going on.
No, it's exciting. I'm excited. Yeah, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us. So
anytime.
Yeah.
Sounds like
hopefully
an amazing end of the year here.
Yeah, hopefully our little Operation SNAFU will grow and maybe we can have some raiders come up sometime.
Oh, I think we got some in the area. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be really exciting. And who knows, maybe Warlord Con is something that we can pop down to. It sounds great. So. Well,
we always have our own special miniature too. This year's theme was Boxcar. Let's see, was it? No, this was next year. Next year's theme is Boxcars to Versailles. This year was War to End Our Wars. Now 1917, 100 years later, and we had a special miniature made by Bill Thornhill from Footsore, and Patrick from Bombshell. And they made a special miniature. The Patrick miniature was a Doughboy, American Doughboy, and the miniature from Footsore was Pershing. He did a General Pershing miniature that you could only get in the swag bag. The first we have hundreds. We have 100 swag bags that we give out for the first 100 people. The first 25 swag bags are a little different. I'll tell. I know I thought we were almost done, but I'll get this in real quick.
No problem.
The first swag, the first 25, the second year we had a tank sprue, a full tank. The third year we had a M3A7 combat drone from Gates of Antares, and this year the special sprues in the first 25 bags were gold and silver to match the Cybermen and Daleks that we gave away.
Oh, nice.
And then
cool.
the other, and all of them got these special miniatures from Bill Thornhill and Footsore
Sure.
and Patrick. So next year, I asked Bill. I said, "Okay, what do we want to do next year?" And he says, "What do we want, John?" I said, "Well, how about you figure it out? Because everybody's always telling you what would you like to do?"
Oh.
So we've come. Yeah. So he said, "Okay, how about this?"
Release the hounds.
Yeah. So he's coming up with this really cool concept, and we've got Dave Taylor to paint it for us. He's going to paint one up for us, but it's going to be British Tommy coming up with his right hand. He's got no kit on. He's just got his uniform, and he's raising his right hand. And there's a German Fritz raising his right hand with no kit on, and they're getting ready to shake hands, and we're going to call it the 11th hour.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right.
And
Cool.
And that's our special miniature. Now, what the special sprue is, I can't tell you, but first
Sure.
25 people who prepay, they get that. But that's the kind of stuff we have at Warlord Gamescom, plus all the extra bells and whistles and special things and how to paint stuff. And
So when should we look for pre-registration opening at Warlord Con?
it's
For those
open
people
now.
who want to. Oh, it's open right now. Okay.
Yep. Come to the website, and you can, if you go to warlordgamescon.com, warlordgamescon.com is our official website. It's a little old-fashioned, but we're working on it. We'll get it better. But you can register there, warlordgamescon.com, and you'll find it. You probably got
All
the
right.
Google Fast stuff. You already found it, but
And for anybody listening
Sure.
that wants to get a hold of you, John, maybe to talk about sanctioning their event or
Sure.
following up with any questions, how can they do that?
my email address is jon.russell, Jon Russell, at warlordgames.com. All one word, warlordgames.com. jon.russell. And my cell phone number, my personal cell phone number.
Ooh,
as-
wow.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
sure you really want to do that?
That's right. That's okay. Patrick's got it, and I don't mind people calling.
Well,
Okay.
we have thousands of listeners.
That's excellent.
That's
And
what we
if they
believe.
want- Yeah.
We've
But
been
it's
led
okay.
to believe.
It's not
that
me
there's some
spam
interest.
downloading all the
Right.
time.
It's on my business card, and it's on our website. It's okay.
All right,
It's
okay, all right.
406-579-7704.
Wait,
If
that's
I
not the
can't-
one I have. Just kidding.
Say that again, John.
BR5. No, it's 406-579-7704. And you guys call me and just let me know if I can answer the phone. I might be in a storage room counting something or something I can't get away. I will answer you within the hour.
Wow.
And I'll try
All
to
right.
get back to you, and we'll see what we can do.
I will say, John, that you are very prompt in responding to emails, messages, and whatnot. So I do appreciate that. I
It's
know
all
I've been
about-
hounding you all summer, but we finally got everything together.
It's good. I like that because it helps me remind it. Because I get on the average of 20 to 50 emails a day on just, hey, I need this. Okay, I got you. And I'm like, some people.
What did I
fall
just
off the
agree
radar.
to? Yes.
Exactly. I end up being a one-armed guy in a boat with one paddle, and the alligators get close. So I just hit them and do a circle and hit them again. So it's good to be reminded. It's okay.
Yeah, well, Pat's done a great job in regards to the prize support and reaching out. But I just want to say that we super appreciate what you've done for us up to now, and look forward to what's happening as we go on.
And I appreciate you guys helping me out, because what you've done is you helped me test out some things or try different things. And right now we're giving out sprues and prize support. We might change that later on in the future to a special code that you can use on our web store and buy special things. So we're tweaking it all the time. We don't want to make it stale. We want to keep it live and fresh every time. So make you keep coming back for more. First one's always free.
A
Right.
code that you can use on the web store. Actually, that sounds very.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Yeah, and that allow you to get like 15-20% off or free shipping or something, or use for just that instance or one time or during that month or something like that. Some of our people who throw stuff in our swag bag, like Secret Weapon or Historique or the guys down from Arena Rex, they'll put a little code in their bag. Geek Nation throws a code in our bag that you can use for the month setting up your tours and stuff. So it works. I know it works. We just got to figure out how to get it better and get more people involved. And always check out the Warlord Games newsletter. Sign up for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Wednesday
Cool
and
stuff
Friday.
in there.
Yep.
Wednesdays and
Yeah,
Fridays.
it's awesome to
It's
get those. Look
Every once in a
forward to
while-
when I get them.
Yeah, and every once in a while there's a story that I wrote in there, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. That's how I'm like, oh, that's John. We're talking to him. What's this
Yeah.
Russell's Raiders thing?
That's
So that
it.
was cool.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see our Operation SNAFU flyer get into that newsletter.
I will push and make sure that they get that in there.
We're sold out with a waiting list. It feels kind of...
That's fantastic.
Seems kind of counter.
And when is SNAFU, so we can get it on the radio?
The weekend before Thanksgiving. That's all I know.
November 18th.
November 18th. So I will be in the offices of Rick Carlisle, who takes care of the events page in the newsletter that comes out Wednesdays and Fridays, and I will make sure I will twist his arm to make sure you get your guys' flyer out there.
That'll be cool. It'll be neat to see.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's cool. It's a lot of fun too.
All right.
Well, thank you, John. I don't know. Do you have a favorite World War II history song that you want us to lead out with?
Lead in with "In the Mood," and you can lead out with "On a Wing and a Prayer."
On a Wing and a Prayer.
Nice.
All right. We will be back in 3 minutes. Thank you very much, John, for joining us. It's been great, and we hope to have you back on again soon.
Oh, you betcha. Guarantee I'll come back.
Yeah, thanks so much, John. That was great.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, John.
You betcha.
One of our planes was missing, 2 hours overdue. One of our planes was missing with all its gallant crew. The radio sets were humming, they waited for the word. Then a voice broke through the humming, and this is what they heard. Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Though there's one motor gone, we can still carry on. Coming in on a wing and a prayer. What a show, what a fight. Yes, we really hit our target for tonight. How we sing as we limp through the air. Look below, there's our field over there. With our full crew aboard and our trust in the Lord, we're coming in on a wing and a prayer. How we sing as we limp through the air. Look below, there's our field over there. With our full crew aboard and our trust in the Lord, we're coming in on a wing and a prayer.
All right, welcome back. John selected a great song. We appreciated having him on the show. Now back with us is Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
So the second part of this episode, we are going to talk
any quick
about...
hobby updates here? Because I did a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's not on the agenda, Dale. Come on now.
All right.
Aw.
I'm done constructing one of my boards. So.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Fine. Okay,
All right.
tell us where it is, because that's
Really?
a big step.
No, that's it. I'm just done building all the all the blocks.
Did you give up on it?
Oh, the
No.
city blocks,
I mean,
yeah.
they're priming. Most of them are. I've got 4 of them already primed, and the others are getting primed now. So.
Nice.
The what I've seen of that board, it looks great. So
Yeah, I'm excited about it. So we're making progress.
I'm flocking stuff and whatnot. So anyone else have an update on that?
I'm spending all my time trying to figure out what freaking color I painted my Foreign Legion guys. I can't remember what brown I used, and none of the browns I've found so far match. It's great.
Down.
Yeah, I know.
You got to take a picture of your paints with your smartphone. That's what I do.
Would have been
That's a good way
intelligent.
of going about it.
That's not how I roll.
Well, they say hindsight is 50-50.
And it works great until you rub
2020, you mean?
you rub the label enough that it takes all the print
50-50.
off.
You're way ahead of you on that, Ron.
Okay. I've never heard it that way, but that's okay. All right, so we are neck deep in SNAFU, Operation SNAFU stuff. We're talking about making tables. Most people don't talk about that, but we're trying to get all of our tables done for this tournament coming up in a couple months now. So we're dedicating the second half of this episode to Operation SNAFU, and we are going to divulge
Long live
a whole
Operation
bunch.
SNAFU.
We're letting out all the secrets, whatever. We're going to kind of give you a breakdown of everything that's happening at this tournament, so that you guys can, the people that are participating or those that would like to maybe attend next year, will get some idea of what we're doing. So, where to start?
Point number 2.
Point 2A. So from the beginning we had this concept. I think this is one of the cooler aspects of this. I mean, all of it's cool, but this is one of the things that kind of set us apart. Is that we wanted to run a tournament where it felt like you were part of the team. So it's Axis versus Allies. So you have some, you're cheering for your opponent, you're for your teammates as much as you're cheering for yourself. So, and I feel like that sometimes gets lost in a tournament where you're just getting assigned to a table, and you're kind of heads down, and you're basically just trying to accomplish your own task, right? So the first thing that we're doing that's a little different in our setting is that you're going to meet with your 12-man side, and you guys are going to help each other decide where you are going to play. So we're not assigning you tables, but we're going to let you guys pick a zone, or the objective tables, which we'll get to in a little bit here, and try and help set your side's victory in that round. And I think that's it's probably different than most. It's kind of almost like ETC is for lots of other game systems, but it's what we're shooting for. You won't get to know your opponents.
Yeah, you will.
Who your opponent is, but you're gonna.
I think we should let that actually happen. Just let the matchups happen organically. So one team,
goal, right?
Right. So if you want to, I guess we haven't maybe hammered this out quite exactly how it's going to work, but I like the idea of letting them maybe even know who the opponent is at that table and then plan, because if, we're going to release the players and their teams, and then you can plan, along with the scenarios, you can plan what kind of army list you want to build to perform on, specific tables and specific scenarios, and kind of maybe tilt the odds in your favor a little bit, or, but you have to alternate. So, for example, if the Axis wins a roll and they put down the first matchup and it's John Stentz and his, partisans or Americans or Brits, then the Axis can sit there. Okay, who's going to play against John this time? And then they can kind of plan that out a little bit. And then once they set that matchup, then the Axis will have to put their player out there. All right, so, in this round, it's going to be Sean with his Romanians. And then the Allies are going to kind of get together and go, all right, so what are we going to do, to kind of counter that pick?
Sure.
And I like that idea, but we don't necessarily have to do that. We can just let them loose. And
Earned ability.
What was that?
Earned ability.
Earned ability. Yeah, that's part
That's
of it
right.
too. There's
That's
a lot of things that are going to go into this that will change how things go during the event. But overall, the idea is that as a team, you guys are helping decide who's fighting who and where they're fighting. And I think that's a good segue into the next part, which is the objective tables, which are a little bit different. So we'll have 3 zones. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3 zones.
That is correct.
Plus,
you have the
what do we call the zones?
Tables. You have objective tables, and then we have what we're calling Zone A and Zone B, which is the other 8 tables.
Okay.
And are they themed like we've got like urban, or did that get pushed a little bit?
No, that kind of got pushed out because I think
we changed that to having tables with terrain on them.
Very good.
versus us having
outskirts
like 6
versus
industrial
urban.
tables. We decided that maybe that wasn't.
But we do have them grouped, and the reason we grouped them is because depending between the 4 tables and the points value between the Axis and allies on these zones will have an impact on those zones in further rounds. So that's why we have them split as zones. But the big thing about the objective tables is every player in the tournament can only play on one of these tables once. So you really have to decide when's a good time to put someone on that table.
Yep. 3 rounds, 3 zones. So the players will only be able to play in each zone a single time.
Well, we're not going to say that they have to be in Zone A or Zone B, because Jeff had pointed out you're going to end up having some people end up facing each other 2-3 times because
you're going to have these weird pods
jumping zone to zone. But we're just
saying, if you're careful, you can avoid that. So, but actually, if Zone A and if the 2 zones, non-objective zones, are malleable enough, then absolutely, that makes sense.
So, but the important thing, and I don't think Pat had mentioned this yet about the objective tables, is that those tables have direct impacts in the game in later rounds as far as to what happens. And I don't know how far we're going to go down that rabbit hole or divulge how much we're going to say about it, but you get to play on an objective board once, and they have a direct impact and help your side more so than a zone will. And they got cool effects. Let's put it that way. It's going to be fun.
Let's open it up to Jeff. Jeff, how far do you feel we should go down the rabbit hole at this point, or should we at all?
I would run the edge rim of the rabbit hole and not go into the hole.
A little rim job.
So we'll talk about the scenarios that play on those objectives, and we will maybe strongly
hint at.
Okay. Well, then before that, so if a player wins an objective table in round 1, whatever it is, the benefit. When does the benefit help? Is it in round 2? In the next round.
Round 2. Yep.
So those players during round 3, there's no round 4. So what happens there?
Round 3 is you earn extra points for your side.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll earn extra points for your side, not battle points for your overall score, but extra points for the Axis or ally
for your team.
And the special, I'm going to call them special abilities, power-ups, whatever you want to call them, that you win for your side on the objective tables will affect your whole side.
So the entire team, the entire play space.
You're either the Axis or the Allies, depending on what one player, Axis or Allies player, won that game, will earn an ability that will help the entire team.
Okay. Are the abilities themed off the objective boards that they're played on? All right.
Highly themed.
So maybe we don't have to talk about what the objectives are, but if we can say what the themes of the objective tables are.
Absolutely.
Okay,
and you can infer heavily from what the theme of the board is.
Yeah, exactly. Right on. So the zones, I think, who wants to talk about the zones? Because I feel like there was something about the zones that we were working on, too, that may have some benefit if you win the whole zone.
Yes, I did kind of touch on that briefly, but so we've got the 2 different zones, and depending on how the Axis and Allies fare in those zones in particular, we'll infer a penalty and bonus to those zones, the same zones, in the next 2 rounds.
So Zone A, what happens in Zone A stays in Zone A.
Yeah, exactly. And then the objective boards can affect Zone A or Zone B. We'll go and/or. How about? Can affect and/or Zone A or B. So
wait, and/or? There's one.
And/or.
Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say the Ewoks are not a part of this.
That's not till January.
And that's a moon of Endor, not actually Endor. Come on.
Yes. Fair enough. Well,
fair point.
Depends on which movie you're watching.
Yeah, I'm spending too much time with you guys.
Battle for Endor, which is a very nerdy movie.
Or and.
Yeah. So we're obviously giving you a lot of information about this. We're still working through it. I think that's hopefully by the time we record this, we'll have the finished packet and we'll be able to release it and show you as much as we can too. So,
fair to note, we are of course still holding back something for day of, just because.
Right. Otherwise, it would be no fun
we're those
if we
kind of
told you
people.
the whole story.
Because we're those kind of people. Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be a surprise.
As it is, we're those guys anyway. Because we're like, hey, no, you can't have more than 12 dice.
Surprise,
you can't do
motherfuckers!
This, you can't do that. Everyone's probably cursing at us as it is. Well, it is what it is. It's going to be fun.
It'll
For
be
those
Well,
that show up,
snafu.
We want the games to finish, so
right, fair enough. Yeah. Well, and you know what? We got to be different than everyone else, and this will keep some of that power creep out, maybe. Hopefully.
and where else are you going to be able to blow a Pershing off the board? So
Right.
Right?
Exactly. With your Tiger, 2, maybe.
or your Piat.
Or your Piat. Yeah,
That's
your
not going to do it.
Probably not gonna.
You get really close in the backside.
Well, it wouldn't be a Piat if it was a Pershing. It would be a
Right.
Panzerfaust or something.
Yeah, it'd be a Panzer Schreck, and that actually maybe could do it.
They'd have a better chance.
They have a better chance. They could do it from further away too. Anyway, all right. So let's get into round 1 scenarios. Let's start talking about some of these things.
Did we want to? Have we touched on? I think we mentioned before just the general rules that apply to all the scenarios. I know obviously we've touched about the order dice limit.
Sure. Oh yeah. The
Sorry, I didn't throw that in the agenda for you. It just happened to be on top of my stack of papers here.
Right. So we're talking the 12 order dice. We're talking how deployment happens. That every game is only 6 rounds, or every game is 6 rounds. Period. There's no extra dice or extra rounds possibility.
Correct.
We'll say 99% of the cases.
Sure. Most of the
There's
time, there will only be 6 rounds.
There's a case that it cannot be. And also, we will have objective markers in this.
Yep.
And
We're bringing those, though.
yes,
Yeah, don't need to bring them.
Don't need to bring them. And I think we've got all ours kind of themed to our boards that we have too. So objective markers will be placed, and they are not to be moved during any point in the game for any reason. So
Yeah, don't do it like
That's
I
important. We'll nail them to the table. So
yes,
you don't
if you referred to the Bug Eater special, where Dale toted his objective, but
I was like, this is mine.
board.
What do you mean I don't get to keep it?
And to hold an objective, you must have one of your infantry or artillery units or transport that has one within 3 inches of the center of the objective,
Which is standard.
There can be no enemy unit of any type within 3 inches of it. You can only measure at the end of game rounds, so no measuring on the fly. And units that have the small rule cannot hold objectives. They can, however, contest it.
Small teams cannot hold.
Can't claim it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can't claim it with a small team.
Which I think is that's one of the only few things I think we changed comparative to.
And that's important because of a specific scenario. So
Yep.
Yes, it does make a difference, and I think that's a good way of doing it anyway. Like your sniper can't set up on an objective and just hold it the whole game. That's kind of silly. But okay. So that's that, and I believe the deployment was we were going every other, not drawing dice, correct?
Yes.
So determine what you have in reserve,
And then whoever won the roll will deploy their first unit first, and then you will alternate until you have all units that are starting on the table.
Yep.
Which will just speed things up as far as like how deployments go,
Yep.
which I think is ideal. So
right, we want everybody playing as much as possible.
And I think we might be on the fence in this one, but I think we're allowing units to use the hidden setup rule.
say
Is that
what,
right?
Like they can be
They could
hiding?
be deployed in hidden setup. Yes, if they are deployed at the beginning of the game.
So bring your hidden markers.
Yep.
Are we doing that in every scenario, or are we doing that only in certain scenarios?
Apparently, I put it on the front page, so we can we can maybe tweak that around a
Yeah,
little bit.
maybe we discuss that a little bit because I don't know if that's always going to be great, but yeah, okay. So there's possibility of hidden shenanigans in there as well. Okay,
Yep.
not set in stone yet.
Observers, snipers, spotters cannot be deployed within 6 inches of any objective marker or within 12 inches of an enemy unit.
Those are your advanced deployers, right?
Yep.
And I think that's all the special rules that I remember talking about that you'll get to know about before the tournament.
Yep. And then, we've just got the pointing cost, or the point awards for victories and draws and whatnot.
Yep.
But those
And
will all
then-
be on your tournament packets, and all you need to know is that we do have the major, minor, win-loss draw scale system. So,
Correct. And that the tournament is 1,250 points, a single platoon. For those that are playing in it that don't remember that.
No theater
Something
selectors.
No theater selectors.
Generic
platoon. Yeah, generic reinforced platoon. So
French have to use early war. Just kidding.
yeah,
So
that would be
does
awesome.
Poland.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they don't have a. They don't. I don't know where they don't have a late war selector anyway.
France does.
France does. Yeah.
Isn't that just the Americans?
Battle of the
Man,
Bulge.
it's Battle of the Bulge book.
Battle of the Bulge book, you're right.
That is the generic late war French selector.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're essentially playing Americans, but that's
There's,
okay.
there's some tweaks to it to make it.
Sure. Give you a little flavor.
Yeah, you shut your freedom fry mouth.
All right.
Freedom fries.
Well, I'm going to open it again because now we're going to go into round one scenarios. So we have, I see 4 things broken out here. So maybe
Those are the objective tables, I
Oh,
believe.
the first 3 are the objective tables. So
Yep.
why don't we go through these and everyone be careful what you say because
I'm not going to
there
say
are
anything.
secrets. I know,
think
but
we
I don't want
should-
to have to edit this. So
Let's throw this to
everyone-
Jeff, and
Yeah,
he
there
can
we
kind
go.
of give us the. These are his babies. So
Yeah, fair. All right. So Jeff, tell us about Battle for the Bridge.
All right, so Battle for the Bridge is going to be controlling a strategic bridge across the canal in the area we will be fighting for. And, the first game is going to be pretty basic. Both sides are rushing to secure this bridge. And the side that secures it will probably make it easier for reinforcements to arrive later in the battle since they're not building their own bridge somewhere else.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
okay.
Yes.
This is one of the objective tables, right?
This is an objective table, and it will have the beautifully stylized, painted Pegasus Bridge kit from Pat,
Well done, Pat.
which will dominate the table.
It pretty much will be the table.
It will be most of the table.
It is
The
the
stuff
Brute
on the
Squad?
sides.
It is the Brute Squad.
All right. So then,
So this scenario is very similar to key positions, in that there's 3 points along the bridge that will be some very obvious objectives that are important, and you have to hold more objectives than your opponent to win this one. There will be no outflanking in the scenario because the only outflanking option would be into a river, which isn't going to work out. Nothing starts on the table. Both sides have to come in the first wave. So nothing starts on the table for this guy.
Race to the bridge.
at
Race
least
to
in the
bridge.
first round.
Yep. So
At least in the first round.
yes.
Right.
That again could change in later rounds. Mwahaha.
Yeah.
So do we want to stick on the table and talk about what happens on this table in subsequent rounds, or do we want to
Nope.
do all round one? Okay,
All round one. Because conditions may change upon the battlefield.
sure. All right.
And there's we mentioned the victory condition, and we need to have a decided victor on this. So there is tiebreaker scenarios. So that is
Someone's winning.
someone
There's
is
no
winning
ties
on this.
on the objective board. Period. Someone will win.
Unless someone's wearing a necktie.
Right.
But
Wah, wah.
So
Where's my hi-hat?
keep track of your destroyed enemies because there's your tiebreaker. So keep track of those order dice you destroy.
Yep.
Sure. And then and lumped in with that one was acquire the artillery.
That's
So
Jeff's table.
yeah, that's the table I'm putting together. So it turns out that the Allies were testing a new artillery fire direction control system in this region, but unfortunately, an errant bomber string of B-17s who paid for it by crashing into the ground dropped bombs way too close to this position, and all the gun crews ran away. But they didn't tell anybody they ran away. So if your forces can secure this fire direction control center, you may be able to direct or misdirect artillery.
Waha.
I like it.
Wahaha. And this one, again, it's similar to a key positions. There's going to be 3 areas on the table that you are going to want to secure with your forces.
And this one also too is running the same scenario as Battle for Bridge. Don't let any ties happen. There are tiebreaker scenarios in place.
Someone will win.
Right on. Okay. The next one on the list is Town Hall, which is another objective board.
Town Hall originally, first off, Town Hall represents the government center of the area that we will be having this battle in. Originally, this scenario was for people that didn't want the pressure of playing for a scenario, but screw those guys. Everyone has to contribute to this fight.
Everyone's
so.
There
Let's
are
just
no sitting on your hands at
bystanders
this tournament.
today.
That's right.
There's no non-combatants in this. Everybody counts.
Everybody fights. Everybody fights.
Nobody quits.
So nobody quits. If you don't do your job, I'll shoot you myself. Sorry, a little Starship Troopers humor there for you.
I was going to say this is only a plastic miniatures game, so let's not shoot anyone, Jeff.
I'll shoot your miniatures.
Sure, fine. You can shoot my miniatures. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Just
talking
get a rubber
about.
band gun.
Just tell them pew pew.
Pew pew
Pew,
pew
pew.
pew pew
Yeah, okay.
pew pew pew. Anyway, so the town hall, obviously, as the government center of this region, provides a significant rally point and morale boost to whichever side holds it. And for instance, if the other side were to capture it and say raise an oversized flag above it, it might affect the morale of your own side severely.
I think it would actually affect my morale.
Do you realize how tough it is to try and find a German World War II flag?
Just
like
about
Jon Russel.
Miniature
impossible.
one? Yeah.
And then when you're trying to do it at work and your boss walks by and all of a sudden all these swastika flags pop up, it gets a little tough to quick explain.
Tough, yeah.
Like,
Like, hey,
no, I'm cool, man. I was just never mind.
especially
just walk away.
especially given the current what's the environment that we're in right now.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
current
Yeah.
world scenarios.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
even
Kinda
U.S. scenarios for crying out loud. Yeah,
You
I
don't
was
just shop for swastikas all the time. What the hell? I'm
just in the last couple of weeks.
yeah. They're
good Lord.
looking at your search history now, buddy. Maybe we'll be going with an Iron Cross if we can find one instead.
Yeah. Say hi to the
Little-
FBI for me.
Those were just
Right,
just so
exactly.
tough.
Yeah.
I didn't click on any of the ads that wanted me to join the Fourth Reich. So
Jesus.
Wait, you have links on your site on your page though that were telling you this to join the Fourth Reich though.
no, I was just making a
Yeah,
flippant
all right,
comment.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have a town center and we're raising a flag, making everyone happy.
And I do believe that is Dale's board, and from what I've seen so far, it is quite gorgeous.
So far, I'm
Well, hopefully it turns out well. So it'll be a destroyed city. So imagine Berlin, because I'm sure the Germans didn't feel good when the Russians came in and occupied. So
Yeah, I think that's an understatement.
right.
bad times.
All right. The next one is the partisan board.
Well, we didn't even talk about what the scenario was in that board.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Yeah, let's talk about
Isn't
that.
that kind of what we want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know this too, so I can
I
change my
actually
board
can't
if I need
remember
to.
the scenario on that board, so that doesn't help me.
Okay,
anyway.
so there's the town hall, which is in the center of the board, and this for round one, no one's allowed to start on the board. Wait, no, sorry. So there's a roll for sides. Whoever rolls declares half, rounded down. Yep, usual. So you get to deploy, but you can't deploy within 12 inches or within 18 inches of the town hall. So whatever side you're on, just kind of just gives you a little awkward deployment zone because you can't be within 18 inches or 12 inches of the center line. And in turn one, we've got that limited visibility thing to 24 inches. So, and the only thing that has to happen is by the end, I believe at the end of round 6, do we call it?
Sounds
end of round
right.
6 or later.
Dun dun dun.
Dot, dot, dot. You have to have at least one infantry team or unit occupying the town building and maintain exclusive uncontested control. So no enemy units
In the building.
in the building. So if you got all those people up on the third floor, you don't let anyone in on the first floor. So,
There are 3 floors to this building.
there you go. See? So
So-
key is to hold. If you hold the bottom floor, they can't drop people into the top. So
it's going to be a bloody battle 3 games in a row.
However, I think we'll make a special exception if someone builds a German glider model and throws it from 10 feet away from the table and lands it on top of the building, they can deploy an infantry unit up there.
Otherwise, they lose.
Otherwise, they lose the guys. If they go off the board, that unit's just lost.
How about any glider, not just a German one?
Sure, yeah, but it's got to be an actual model. It can't be like a paper airplane. You got to build it and be willing to destroy
I'm
it.
going to one-up you, Jeff. It has to fit all of the guys in the unit inside it somehow.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
You
just
have
a
to be
given.
able to put all 10 guys in.
Yep.
I don't know that I want somebody lobbing a big chunk of something at my
We'll
board.
set up a
after-
fake scenario where
it
they
must
actually
be made
can
out of
put it in.
concrete.
Yeah, Dale's kind of protective. He might stand there and King Kong and swat your glider away. So
Yeah, there may be some Kareem Abdul-Jabbar around that
idea.
table. Just saying.
As much fun as it was.
The key note on this one is that this is the one that can go past 6 rounds because it's really important. And if time is called, there is a secondary tiebreaker scenario to that because this again, we can't have a tie in this one. So
we don't believe in ties here.
Yep.
There are no draws.
So and we have all the flags of the armies that are participating. So unless someone sneaks someone in last minute, we will actually be able to put the army's proper flag up there to say, hey, I did that, or yeah, I let that guy do that to me, whichever the case may be.
Yeah, a little visual reward.
Yeah,
which in most cases is fine, other than that there might be a couple that are like modern versions of the flag or whatever. But
no. Well, the only one, the German flag is the actual national German flag, and not the army flag that was run with the Iron Cross or anything. So
that's what is it? The black, orange, and red one? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yep.
Does it have a crest on it, or is it just solid?
Just solid.
Okay. Might be.
I think the German players will understand.
Yeah, I think the idea is that you've given some visual cue as to who won it the previous round, and I think that's the important thing.
Yep.
All right.
It may make all the rest of your troopies feel kind of excited about that.
Your whole side should be excited about that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Totally awesome.
Yeah. So then, all right. So now, not jumping the gun anymore. The partisan board.
The partisan board's one of mine, and basically this scenario, your underground resistance contacts in the area have some critical information about where the enemy may or may not be moving their forces to. However, there's a traitor in their midst, so you need to get in to find your partisan friends and acquire this information before the traitors murder your friends in the resistance. And unfortunately, they don't really feel like they're getting out of this alive, so they may bring bombs with them. So you need to be extremely careful in searching the 3 buildings that will be on this board to find the correct information. So this table is going to set up with 3 objective buildings on the table, and you're going to get the kitty corner deployment on this one. And you will need to secure the buildings containing the partisans to get the information. And if you hold it at the end of each round, you score a point. However, there's potentially, because there is a chance those traitors have made it to that building as well, and they will wreak havoc upon anyone who is occupying that building, to the point of possibly killing the partisan and your troops.
And thereby taking that building out of the game.
I don't recommend putting all your eggs in one basket here.
It's not so bad. We did it in the demo, in the trial game, and it worked out great to the last round.
Right. So speed will be the key to being successful.
Mostly because my eggs couldn't get to the other baskets.
That is a problem.
It is a problem. Yes, it is. Like Jeff said, speed is the essence. There's a triangle deployment, 3 foot by 24 foot, and your reserves are also coming in there. We've nixed the outflankers, I believe, Jeff. Is
correct.
Right?
Yep. So, no outflanking on this one.
So it's a speed build. You got to get there fast, and you got to get there early, and you have to stay there.
And not one unit being quick. You need more than one.
I would recommend 2 as a minimum.
3 different buildings, so.
Yep.
And this is, again, another one that if it comes down to, there is tiebreaker scenarios. We want to avoid ties.
Yeah. There are no ties.
Especially on the objective boards.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So
what good is having all that information, Jeff, if you had more information than the other side?
Yeah. What good does it do you?
Yeah.
Well, it gives you hints and tips about where the enemy is going to be deploying certain factions in the future.
Their battle plan has been revealed.
That's right. It's a strategic advantage. Very, very strategic advantage.
Sure. Yeah.
Possibly in the right hands, one of the best advantages you can earn.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it'll be interesting. It's worth all of these objectives are worth trying to control. So I think it's obviously everyone should fight to win them anyway. Why would you not? But
there's a balance to be struck, though.
Yeah,
once you learn what the bonuses are, and also keep in mind that in the last round you're securing double points for your team as well.
Bonus
towards ultimate victory. So.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So and then So that's 4 of the tables. The other 8 tables that we'll have there are all going to play the same scenario, and it's a single scenario for those 8 tables, correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
So those 4 are going to be playing their individual scenarios, and those scenarios, while they'll change over the course of the 3 rounds based on who's winning and what they've done, these will change every round. So all of the zones will play a different scenario every round.
Yes.
All right.
Basically, think of it, around these 4 really key objectives. The regular battle will still be raging, right? But these are the four of the key points in this giant Axis versus Ally fight.
Right. And controlling the zones of each thing has its own payoff and penalty as well.
Yes. Yep. You still want to gain territory, even if you're not on one of these specific objective boards. You still want to be winning and gain these territories for your side.
We're not saying the objectives are the most important, but you can only play on one once. So when you do, it's probably the most important.
Make it count.
Make it count.
Make it count.
Yeah. So what is the zone scenario for round 1?
This is a modified version of sectors. So I think Jeff came up with this, and I put some numbers to it. So basically, instead of having the 4 sectors that the game usually has, we went with 9. So you got 9. We got 3. 9. We got 3 across, and then 3 both directions. So there's a total of 9 actual sectors on the table.
Sure.
And you'll pick, the winner will pick his table side, and we'll pick 2 adjacent sectors. So he's setting up at 2/3 of his third of the table, if that came out.
That makes
right.
total sense, yeah.
Okay.
Makes enough sense. It'll make more sense in the packet, too. So
yes.
We're going to draw pretty pictures so you can get an idea.
At least pictures. I don't know if they'll be pretty, but we'll get there.
They may be cat assisted.
Right.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
I think they look great.
My printer could use a little adjustment. I'm doing straight lines, but that's something different. Must have had a glass of vodka spilt on it or something.
Oh, God, that happens.
Yeah. So this is another one where we're starting on the table. There is no outflanking on this. And there is a chance for preparatory bombardment.
Could happen.
Yep. So on a roll, this is for scenario 1. So on a roll of 2+, and I know Rick just grinding his teeth right now because he hates this so bad.
And just a little bit, but it's okay.
Oh, each player rolls, and if they get a 2+, they get their barrage. If one of the players gets a 1, they don't get one. But such is life.
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah. I'm not playing, so I guess I don't care. But I don't like that one. But whatever, it is what it is.
There's several scenarios in the base book that this is a valid thing. So.
Yeah, and it seems to screw me every time. So
that's why I said
we don't have to agree on all of these either. No, it's totally fine.
Well, hey, I'm not writing all the scenarios, so I can only give input. And it's not my decision, so I'm cool. So, it's fine.
You score points based on where you end at the end of turn 6. If you're still on your third of the table, you're getting a point. If you're in the neutral zone, in the middle third of the table, you're getting 2 points.
Those are worth 2 points, yep.
And then
each sector in that middle zone, correct?
Correct.
Yep. If you're on your opponent's
score a total of 6 in the middle.
Third of the table, you're getting 3 points.
So is it controlling the sector that scores you the points, or
Yes.
is it having an order dice in the sector at the end?
It's controlling the sector earns you points.
All right.
And there are bonus points if you move off your opponent's deployment zone. But, of course, you can't claim that sector then if you don't have a second unit in there.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's a choice you're going to have to make. If that's worth it to you or not.
And this scenario is played in both zones A and B?
Correct.
This is a controlling as much territory as possible scenario.
All right, so it's to set the stage for the next rounds.
Yep.
Gaining ground, yeah. All right, well, that's round 1 then. So then round 2 objective tables, we've kind of alluded to this already, is basically how the first game ends is essentially how the second game starts, correct?
Right. So whoever controlled it last game is, instead of having to come on in the first wave, will be starting up in those defensive positions with some of their armies.
Yep.
Similar to, what is that? Hold until relieved.
Yeah.
So you get like a unit within 6 inches of each objective and the rest of your deployment. And
Yep. And because we like to make you earn it, it may be more difficult to hold these positions than it is to attack them. Just maybe. Possibly.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it could potentially be a valid strategy to have a defensive build coming into the tournament in hopes that you'll actually be defending an objective board that had previously been won.
You got it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's a very real possibility.
So, and that is true for the bridge and the artillery board. The town hall is also true, except for the town hall has the confused fight, where you can bring your reinforcements in from any side, basically.
Yep.
But you can't come in from the same side that an enemy just came in, I believe. So it's straight out of the rule book as far as for confused fights. So that's thrown in there. I think that's only the town hall that has that particular addendum to it.
Yep.
And then the partisans is the same scenario each time.
Yeah, partisans is always the same because you are tracking down yet more members of the resistance. So that one, you're both always attacking in that one, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, that sounds legit.
Yep.
Okay. And then, so
does the special objectives, the special reward, they do not change, do they?
No.
Right.
The rewards don't.
But which side gets them obviously will depend on who won.
Yes. Exactly. Okay.
And how they choose to utilize them is also an important decision.
And you may see after the first, going into round 2 when they see what those bonuses are, and you're like, oh my God, we need to take the next game. This game, we got to win. We got to win this.
We absolutely have to hold this because we don't want this to happen to us or whatever. Yep. Yeah, I think that's an important thing. Yep.
You will very much want to win these objective boards every round.
That's to say you don't want to win all your zone boards, but yeah, no, they're.
That's to say that anyone throws a game because they don't want to win it.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's like that. That's why I sit down like, hey, how can I best screw myself out of winning this game?
Just use your SNAFU dice.
There you go.
That'll do it.
Actually, I think if you just try to roll your order dice instead of actual dice when you're making, I think you do okay.
You're definitely going to want to bring your A game for those tables because I think they're going to play a role. Like you're going to help your team, and your team is going to love you for it if you can secure any of these tables. And if they don't, you might. Well, no, we're probably not going to have a barracks soap sock incident, but
code red.
No.
Yeah, no code reds.
There'll be no code reds.
Unless it's Mountain Dew, I guess. If you want to buy a Mountain Dew, go for it. But anyway.
That's it. We got to have that as one of the prizes in there somewhere.
Oh Lord!
A 12-pack of code red.
It's not tournament breaking or anything like that.
No.
They're cool things. We don't want to put a lot of pressure on any of the players.
No, there's
I do.
pressure.
It adds to the narrative that Jeff is trying to develop through it, and that's why it's there. And if it is what it is. There'll be people who thought it was really cool. There'll be people like this, the stupidest thing. This is supposed to be a tournament. I'm competing for a chance to get into Adepticon and play in the Nationals there, and they're throwing this garbage at me. So,
yeah, it's very. It's kind of we wanted to emphasize the team and a narrative and a story, and at the end of it, what we're hoping is that because of the different kinds of forces and the different kinds of battles and the team play, is that everyone will come away with this really cool story about how something they did made this bigger impact. So
that is, or they were so close, or whatever. That is ultimately the hope, right, for everyone, is that there are stories being told about this later, about how this happened or whatever. And I think we'll get into this in a little bit later about why that actually is a part of the overall event, and it plays a role in some other stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's go over round 2 zone tables. So anything that's not an objective table in round 2, what scenario are they likely to play?
This is one that Jeff kind of came up with. So why don't you go ahead and run through that one, Jeff?
Oh yeah, this one. I love this one.
Oh man, you guys are mean. I wasn't even going to tell anybody what this one was.
Oh, you
Well,
weren't?
then no. We don't have to tell them what it is. Then that's fine.
Yeah. I was
can
going
say
to
it's
spring this on
objective.
people.
No, it's fine. I think you can just give a light version of it.
Well, how much springing can we do if it's going to be in the tournament pack?
It's a mighty good point, Jeff. We can redact it. We can straight up.
Here, your
Government
scenario
dish
2
it.
is
You're gonna
the
We can
Oh,
mark.
objective.
We can black mark
Win.
out like all kinds of stuff. That might be interesting. Yeah, if you could do this up like
I can totally
a
do
World
that.
War II dossier, file.
Sure.
That'd be really cool, right?
I mean,
Sorry.
that was my intention as
So
far as design.
scenario 2 is Lee objectives. 3 objectives will be placed by the TO along the center of the table. Both players will all die.
Wait. Aren't we going to redact all this?
Well, yeah, but you can leave that stuff in. It's in the front page of the rule packet anyway. So you can leave them some stuff in there.
So there's 3 objectives, and then I'm just going to beep out the rest of this.
There are 3 objectives.
Beep,
Both players roll a die.
beep.
Beep. It just keeps going.
107, Mark.
You remember
That's it.
you watch that SNAFU cartoon where the guy keeps censoring all this stuff? That's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, if you haven't watched the Private SNAFU for censoring, that one is a great episode.
It's pretty awesome.
Because isn't it like his?
He's trying to write a letter to his girlfriend, and the censor guy keeps getting his letter every time, and he tries all these weird ways to sneak it through, and the censor guy keeps getting it, and he's like, nope, and he's cutting out all, every other word.
Yeah, and at one point, doesn't he have a pet that gets it too?
Yep.
Like he has a parrot or something, and then he finally gets through, and then his girlfriend tells everyone where it was going to be, and then they show up and get blown off the table.
Yep.
Or blown out of their boat, or whatever. If you haven't gone, do very sidetracking here, but if you haven't watched the thing that basically created the name of our show, or at least gives us the opening soundtrack, it's called Private Snafu. It's on YouTube. It's hilarious. It's like old propaganda, like boot camp films that are awesome.
Hilarious.
All right, so we're not going to say anything more about round 2 other than that it is objective-based. You must capture objectives. And you may have to do it multiple times.
I
in the
never
game.
said capture.
You've already said too much.
Oh.
I never said capture. I just said there are 3 objectives.
Well, what would you do with an objective if you're not capturing it?
I don't
Maybe
know.
you're blowing it up.
Leave it to their
Sure,
imagination.
I guess.
We've already
Okay, maybe
alluded to
you're
the fact
blowing
that
it
they
up,
can't
too.
pick it up.
Right. Fair enough. All right.
Damn,
Well,
now they know they can't pick up the objectives and walk off with them. Shoot.
Should I make some objective pieces for my second board?
If you're one in the zone table, yes.
You're going
All
to
right.
need them.
Good to know. Thanks.
3 of them. 3 of them, 25 millimeter, if you can handle it.
I think I can manage that. All right. What's round 3?
I don't know. You want to tell them about that one?
Well, round 3, I can give you 2 ideas.
All right.
Here's our
How
big
about-
allude. We're not going to tell you anything.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you specifically. Here's the deal: if it's a real back and forth kind of situation where one side won overwhelmingly the first round and one side won overwhelmingly the second round, you can probably expect that you're just going to try and kick the hell out of each other in that third round, or maybe try to get around behind people. We don't really know what's going to happen there because it's kind of a confused battle.
Well,
However,
we do. You don't.
Well, yeah, I know. But if one side's just steamrolling the other, I mean, you might want to just put your boot right on their neck and crush out their, everything. So it's going to depend on how the tournament's going. We're going to have 2 different scenarios, possibly more.
Wahaha.
Mwahaha. This will be the most heavily redacted because, I might play French, but I'm no Nostradamus, and I can't foresee how this tournament's going to go.
I can. It's going to be fantastic.
What?
Right. Regardless of whether Axis or Allies are winning.
Correct.
It'll be fun.
Yay, history.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, so that gets us through all of the scenarios that we can speak of. We'll be releasing a pack that has some of the information as much as we feel comfortable divulging without ruining the story.
Apparently, the pack is going to say Operation SNAFU, November 18th.
And it's just going to be a bunch of black
And
lines.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Be heavily redacted for
No,
fun.
we've got some stuff for page 1, at least for now.
These guys.
List of players,
List of
on their
players.
teams.
Sure. Scenario.
Maybe a possible schedule of the event.
Maybe.
We'll redact that lunchtime, though. Just don't want to let them know when they can go.
Yeah, God.
You must stay here until we're done.
2.5 hour rounds, right?
Correct.
Yep.
All right, so 1250, 12 order dice limits, 2.5 rounds, or
Hey,
2.5 hour rounds, so be quick.
Speaking of that, let me ask you guys this. How do you want to handle that time cap? I know it's been... I've seen a couple different... run into some where it's like, okay, yep, that's your last order dice, don't pull anymore, or just like, we're at the end of turn 5, there's 10 minutes, I don't think we're going to get it in, let's not start the turn.
Yeah,
How do you think is the best way to handle that, honestly?
Typically, or I think the best way to handle it is basically go around 20 minutes before and say, don't start another round.
Yep.
Like, so we have 2.5 hour rounds. At about the 2:10 mark, we'll walk around and say, do not start another round.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are pretty good judges of whether or not they think they can get another round in. But if they're not completed with 2.5 hours, they're likely not going to finish any more of it anyway. So I don't like them starting mid-round, ending mid-round.
Mid-order dice, when your opponent got 6 of his pulled first and your 8 are still sitting in there.
And you just, and he blasted a bunch of stuff off and you didn't get to respond. That
so we'll try to stop you from starting around then, but like if you're mid-round or even a third of your way into your round when it's that 20-minute mark there, we'll just tell you not to start another round probably, but we'll let you finish.
We'll let you finish the round.
Or if it's on an objective table and it looks really close, we will have everybody else gather around your table and watch you finish.
Yeah, no pressure there.
Looking over your shoulder, cheering.
Second-guessing everything you do.
Yeah. Oh, God, I would have done that.
Yeah, due to the nature of the tournament, we're going to be okay with people walking around and kibitzing a little bit. Not necessarily table talk, but, being there and watching the others play and maybe supporting and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, cheering your fellow players on is highly encouraged.
Yeah.
Telling them how to play their army is not encouraged.
Yeah.
Right,
what about having your kid run a message back and forth to one of your other allies?
As long as we can intercept the message and redact some of it, I think that'd be okay.
Is it a marked case? Because if it's not a marked case, he's a spy and he'll have to be shot. But
and
with whipped cream in the face.
Pew pew.
Or he's going to dress like a pigeon.
Oh God, yeah, that'd be perfect. Or you could bring an actual carrier pigeon to run messages back and forth.
I would be okay with that.
Still shit on our stuff. No thanks.
I don't think we get our damage deposit back.
Yeah, no, right?
We let a freaking flying rat go in there.
We let a pigeon go. It didn't mean we got him back.
Where's your sense of adventure? Come on, guys.
Oh, I'm out. I'm out of that. I don't want any part of that. Pigeons are gross. And not really all that smart either.
They race pigeons in China.
They race them?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they race all sorts of stuff.
It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars that they'll pay for some of these pigeons.
Oh, God,
really?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like racehorses here for millionaires and billionaires, it's homing pigeons in China.
They don't live nearly as long.
And there's no way of really knowing that pigeon that you actually just paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for is actually any good. I mean, there's no pigeon pedigree.
The streets in New York. You're like,
pigeon pedigree.
This one's awesome.
So, anyways, no carrier pigeons. Sorry.
No golden plump.
No, yeah. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure, because I think it's fun to have some inter team rivalry going on. But let's keep in mind
camaraderie.
Both sides. Yeah, right. But we're going to try and keep everyone's feelings in check here.
Yeah, and I imagine that we'll try to set it up so that one of us will not be captains of each team, but we'll kind of be there, hopefully, to help facilitate keeping things going. Yeah, liaison. Thank you.
So if you do check out the schedule that's posted on the Renegade Open, you'll see that there's like some time allotted out before the start of each round for the Axis and the Allies to get together as a group and kind of figure out what they're going to do and say, hey, we're sending Stevie to the bridge table this round, and get that figured out.
Right.
And so we'll have one of our SNAFU guys with you so that we can get that information back to and get the tables assigned as quickly as possible. So,
yep.
Basically, you're going to pick. So you guys are going to assign whether you are whoever, each person is going to be in either Zone A or Zone B, or they're going to be on an objective table. And you're going to tell us that, and we'll do the best we can to make sure that we don't get double-up matchups for people.
Yeah, we don't want anybody playing the same person.
Same person twice.
No.
That's not cool in a 3-game tournament. So we'll avoid that. And if it's unavoidable, we'll go, hey, we had to bump this guy into Zone A again, so whatever.
We'll do everything in our power to make sure that you don't play the same person twice. It's not a 100% guaranteed, but...
And we don't want you playing on the same table either, if we can avoid that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, we're going to make every attempt to make this as awesome a tournament as everyone expects from a tournament organizer. So, I don't know. Are we gonna go through these awards? It's on the agenda. Are we actually going to tell everyone what they are? I think it's.
Well, yeah, they're pretty standard, I think.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good one. Pretty standard.
Well, I mean, you don't have to give. The color text or anything.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to know. Is like, are we? I think it's going to be more humorous and fun for everyone if we save the names.
Let's go
of these
flavorful. Let's say it'll be more flavorful.
Right. If we save that for the actual day.
They're themed. I like the theme.
Yeah. No. Right. All right. So we'll start with the one that I think everyone knows about.
Well, it was alluded to in our first part of it when we were talking with John.
Yep.
The overall who will have the most points accumulated will get the Golden Dog Tag, which will be provided by Warlord Games, not day of, but your information will be given, as he mentioned during his interview. He'll send it to you with your little stamp, and then you are in the Nationals. If you don't know what that's all about, ask John Stentz. I think he can tell you how it goes.
I mean, it gets you into the door at Adepticon, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, based on the description, that's just a pretty sweet souvenir to have, too. So
sounds like it.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
It sounds pretty rad. So, yeah, that's the overall winner. Next is... So this is what I was talking about earlier, is why some of those objective boards might play a role in some later stuff, is that we're doing a player-voted... Allied veteran. It's not necessarily the best Allied player, but it is one that we've gone back and forth in this, and I don't know if we have it completely solid as to which side is going to vote for which side, but it'll be a voted for award as far as Allied and Axis players go.
Correct.
I know we're still trying to finalize what that actually is and how it works, but essentially it's basically look at all the stuff and what some pivotal moment in the thing made this happen, which allowed us to do this, which I think is totally what we're going for. Is like maybe one thing really made a difference, and I think that's pretty cool. So we'll see how that goes.
And so we have that for both. So we have an Allied veteran voted and an Axis veteran voted. One for each. And I know we've mentioned in a previous podcast that this is, it's player voted, and it's not because we don't like doing math and figuring out who has the most points and what.
But it's because we don't like doing math and figuring out.
But it's because we don't like doing math and figuring that stuff out. So.
Well, and I think, and the other part of it, and I think this is something we've talked about a bunch, is that we didn't necessarily want to just make it like any other tournament.
No, it's more the team sense.
Yeah, it did make it more
team-based. You're all in together. You decide who really led your team, put you guys on the right track, and totally sabotaged you for your defeat or brought you to glory and victory.
It's like it comes down to the end, and Jon Stentz, who in my opinion is the best bolt action player in the region, is he's on that objective table, and somebody Axis player walks up and they have to play John, and if John wins, which is almost always likely because he's that good, but somehow you pull out a draw or something, even though you might have just totally mailed in the rest of the tournament, that might gain a big vote because that swung the whole battle and it was a totally an unexpected outcome.
Let's put it this way:
maybe something like that.
You can't get a draw on an objective table.
Oh, okay, that might have been a bad example.
So you have to have actually beat John on an objective table. So
which would be huge.
That's huge.
You know what? It can be done. The swings are just that crazy that
stuff happens.
Right.
Happens.
And some of these team matchups, the whole matching up where the other team's best player. Not that that's going to be John, but it could be anybody. You always send up who's going to get crushed by that guy, and so that's a loss. So we're going to try to stack our odds in other areas or something. But there's a lot of different dynamics in the whole team game.
Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate goal of this, right? Is it's the story, it's how that plays out, how everyone perceived performance versus just actual points.
Yeah, you're not playing for yourself; you're playing for your team, which is kind of cool.
Exactly. Yep. You may not have scored as many points in whatever game because you were helping your team instead of, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's an important aspect of this, and I think that's why those awards are reflected in that, in a sense that it's part of the story more so than it is just your overall score. I think it's cool. And then we have a player-voted painting award, and I think, again, this is because we don't want to do math. Or it's more that we don't
feel that as us can critique exactly what you did and if you painted to a checklist or not, and then you come up and go, well, I have a highlight here, you didn't get that. You know what, we're just doing one award anyway, here you go. Just let everyone decide who has the best one.
Yeah, player's choice.
Painting is a very subjective rubric as far as scoring goes, and we early on we determined right away we are not going to incorporate painting scores into the tournament results, and that was why we decided that so now we're just going to have a best painted or player's choice vote or player's choice award, and I think that ultimately I think that's the more cool award to win anyway, because it's all your peers that basically said, I really think your army is the coolest one here. Or it's the one that I would love to take home. I don't know. I mean, we can, it depends on how you ask the question, but really ultimately it's basically your peers saying, I really liked your army. And I think that's the coolest award, personally, myself. Or it feels the best anyway.
And most every winner has had a display board, just saying.
Just saying.
It helps.
Also, it definitely helps.
If your display board has your name on it too, it makes it easier to vote for.
Right?
Yes.
That definitely helps. Yeah.
Heads up. We haven't mentioned it. We expect everyone to have painted armies, don't we?
We do.
That is absolutely a guarantee.
Wow, holy oversight, huh?
Yeah.
Legal department must be going nuts, Jeff.
We're not paying him enough. That's the problem.
Yeah. There's the answer there. Sorry, you don't pay me enough to answer that question. Yes, the legal department's gone crazy.
They've actually
3-color minimum.
Yes.
And bases have to be colored, flocked, whatever, as well.
They have to be finished in some fashion.
Finished. There you go. That's what I was searching for.
Not finish, but finished.
Right. They have to have some kind of.
So even the finished bases do have to be finished.
Yes, unless you go with a clear plastic base thing that I saw an article on, and if you do that, fine, that's your base.
Yeah, I think we're okay with that.
I'm cool with that too.
I'm
but
cool with
it
that.
has to have not. It can't be like the gray Warlord base just with your dude glued to it.
Right.
Put some work into it. I think, and we've said this many times in many other episodes. We love it when we go to a tournament and everyone's got awesome looking armies, and it just makes the story that much more important. And I think that's a real key component of this. This is a story-based thing. You've got to have your stuff put together and painted.
Yep.
Yeah, you do your best, and we promise that we'll do our best as well. So.
Yep.
Hopefully, Jacob will have his camera back, and we'll come in and take some sweet pictures of all this painted stuff for us.
That would be nice.
I talked to him briefly at his last event, and he'll have his camera back, and he's hoping to swing by for sure for a couple hours and get some cool pictures. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
He's got a really, really, really nice camera, so all your nice painted details are going to show up.
I think he's got more than one really nice camera. I think he's got several very nice cameras. I think he's I don't know if he's professional or I think he might be a professional star. What the hell am I looking? What's the word I'm looking for? Some kind of professional photographer.
Astronomer?
He's not an astronomer, but he likes taking pictures of the stars, and the pictures I've seen are beautiful.
An Astro fan?
He's definitely
not
he
the
likes
Houston Astros, but
yeah, that'd be a very different camera.
I know. A lot of his painting tutorials end up in the Warlord newsletter all the time.
They do, and
so he takes. And those are definitely not stars that I'm seeing. He's taking pictures of those too.
Yeah,
so
that stuff is ridiculous. So
yeah, it's on another level.
Yeah,
another couple of levels.
I'm sad that unfortunately he had to back out from the tournament because I was really I'm sad that I didn't get to see his army. I wanted to see that army. Like done to his level is incredible. So,
oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say this because there are several other people that have very well painted armies, but I do have a feeling he would have been a strong front runner for the best painted or Player's Choice Award, no doubt in my mind. So, and then of course, because we're in the Midwest, and this is this is our key award because we're all
this is our jam, man.
Basically Canadians.
This is our jam.
This is our jam. Is the Sportsmanship Award, which is a player voted sportsmanship award. So I think the way we were going to do it is you're going to vote for your best opponent, correct?
Yep.
And that's going to.
I also like the 3-2-1 ranking too.
It might be a 3-2-1 thing.
It's going to be some way for you to fill out basically saying it's either a single or ranking your opponents.
Yeah. It's not going to be a way for you to say everybody I played was the best chap ever.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just circle fives all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so.
Or zeros, depending on who you are.
Right.
Some people are that way.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if Pat and Rick and I aren't playing, there shouldn't be any zeros. Just saying.
Fair. Yeah. We'll see. There could always be somebody.
I don't know. Someone could fill out one of us for the TOs and put zeros on there. I suppose.
Well, I mean that's pretty. Normal.
I wouldn't put that past some of the people in there. Yeah, as a joke.
Save that for the feedback forms that we're not going to have, so we don't care.
We'll have them. They're going to get filed immediately into my industrial-sized shredder.
It's like we don't care about people or something. This is amazing. All right.
Just after we got done talking about sportsmanship, I love it.
Right. We are fully owning what we're doing in a sense that we think this is going to be awesome, and I guess what we're saying is that if it isn't awesome, you'll just talk with your pocketbook next year.
Or let us know, and maybe we can fix it.
We'll try and fix something.
You know what? At the end of the day,
there's
going to be a bunch of stuff.
Anyway.
There's going to be a bunch of stuff to give away. Everyone's going to have some cool stuff to get. So even if you just get to play 3 awesome, rad games of bolt action, and you think our scoring system is janky as hell and our awards are bogus, you're still getting to play 3 games of bolt action, and you still have opportunities to win prizes in our Toys for Tots charity raffle. Which
Plus,
we'll
you get to sleep soundly with the fact that you helped out the Toys for Tots charity.
That's right. So I think most of our people are from the Midwest, and I don't know. I can't remember how. I think it's nationwide. So those unfamiliar with Toys for Tots, I think everyone might be, but we'll go through that anyway.
Wait, unfamiliar or familiar? Because
Yeah, it's the U.S. Marines put this on every year. It's to raise or to gather toys for children that are underprivileged and we can't get those toys. So it's a great way for families that don't have the means to be able to give their kids presents, which I think is an incredibly awesome thing.
Every kid deserves to have a Christmas present or a present at Christmas.
Yeah.
That's wow. I didn't think much of this a couple years ago, and then I had a kid. It's like, wow, I could not even imagine, having a kid and not being able to give them something at Christmas. That just breaks the heart a little bit.
Yeah, totally. So I think that is I've done other Toys for Tots events that I think ultimately at the end of the day I think is a perfect time of year for it. It's Christmas is just around the corner. It's just before Thanksgiving, so Toys for Tots is really it's gearing up at that point. So it's a perfect time to do this, and I think that's an awesome thing that the Renegade has put forth is that they ultimately think that this is the better reason to have an event. It's not necessarily to gate
based
money
on the
anything.
Time of year that they're having it. Yes, that's absolutely perfect charity to have in that whole event thing. So
and there are multitudes of different ways each tournament organizer is doing it. So some of the other tournaments are giving away full armies. So like they're going to have, I think there's a 40K army. I think there's an Age of Sigmar army. Mm-hmm. I know there's a War Machine army. And I believe as a person participating in any of the other stuff, I think if you guys wanted to go get enter any of those raffles, I think you can as well. But we're doing it similarly in a sense, but we're not going to have an army. We have a whole bunch of prize support that Pat has reached out and grabbed, and I think that's a fantastic. We posted a picture Pat posted a picture on Facebook of
Pat, who has sponsored us?
So we've got some. The actual prize support came from The Source, which is a local gaming store here in Roseville. We all have been there at least once or twice. I actually get my paints and sculpting supplies from them all the time. I'm there at least every other week. We also had some stuff sent to us by Warlord Games. They sent us, and they're also doing some stuff in our swag bags as well. Zulk has included some of their kits and models. We've also had Dice of War has put some, and I'm missing somebody.
Gamecraft Miniatures.
Gamecraft
Miniatures is providing some gift certificates for our prize winners.
Osprey
has got a collection of outstanding historical books. I'm looking at these covers and reading the jackets, and I'll still give them away. They sound really cool. They've got some. Osprey is really good. They're in there for the history. They produce the bolt action line of books themselves, and so we've got a lot of really cool stuff in there. So
all of the books will only be read once.
When they get handed out, sure, yes.
Yeah.
No, you'll open the spine and you'll hear that crease and crack as you're the first person to do it. So I'm not reading through those. I can read backs of books and catch the titles and then Google them and read some other reviews on it. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool books and it was, if anyone's out there trying to set up one of these things and they're like, good God, how do I get surprise support? How do you do it? You know what? I just thought of the companies I'm usually buying stuff for. I hit their little contact button. I tell them who I am, what we're doing, send them an email. And some of those companies get inundated with stuff and don't ever get back to you. But it's kind of like fishing. The more lines you throw in there, the more bites you end up getting. And, we had these, 4 or 5 companies that came back, and a couple of them worked with back and forth, and it was really nice, and they just sent the stuff in. And I'm really grateful for everything they did for us. And, they're up on the website for sponsorship. Rick put together a flyer, which should be out within the Warlord newsletter, and they're on there too. So they're the ones that gave us the means to hand it out to you guys.
Yep, big time thanks to those guys. Yeah. It's super awesome.
And that's to say that we may or may not have some other prizes to give away, but this is what we've got so far. So I think it's rad. We've gotten a lot of support from a lot of different people, and I think that's really cool. So, do we want to talk about how we're thinking about doing it? I think we've kind of said some stuff about it in previous episodes, but essentially we're gonna hopefully get people the prizes that they want versus just here's this random thing that nobody wants.
Great way to put it.
It's getting late.
Well, hang on, we got to have something for the guy who didn't win a game, right? We got to find something for that.
Sure. Let's give him the Conflict 47 book.
Well, who knows? He may actually want that. Don't let him take any
Stop
games
playing
to get
this. You need to play this army list with all this future tech, and then come back.
Maybe we'll be like, hey, next year you can just bring the Conflict 47 list to
This
a bolt
is the
action.
wrong game for you. Why don't you try this one?
Yeah, that's usually what it is. But no, I want to encourage those people to keep playing. Hopefully nobody does that.
I picked up a copy of Conflict 47. It's kind of an interesting read.
Okay. I'm sorry, Pat. No.
That's okay.
I'm not as into the sci-fi stuff with this system, but
I think it's cool.
I just like collecting and reading different gaming books just to see their different take on stuff. So.
To leave that to Pat to always do, yes. Fair enough. So essentially what the end goal of this is basically to raise money for charity. So our system is basically going to be for every $5 you donate in cash or value in toy. So if you bring a $25 toy, we'll give you 5 raffle tickets. As an example. And we'll have essentially what we're calling lots. So, subsets of product. Then you can throw your stuff in. You can throw your raffle tickets in each of those things independently. So you get to basically kind of pick what you're going to try and win. And then we'll draw those each out. So it's giving you a chance to get the stuff that you would rather have versus, I don't play Soviets. I don't want Soviet infantry. Maybe I'll go for the Americans because I have Americans, or vice versa. I'm like, I don't need any more Americans ever again because I have enough.
Or you
Soviet infantry.
You just got your ass beat by a bunch of Soviets, so maybe you want to start playing Soviets.
Maybe you want to join them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
I want my gas. Like, give me my gas. I want it now. So I think that's we're trying to make sure that the thing I've always hated about raffles is I always end up winning the thing that like I have no use of. Like, oh yay, I want a a 40K tank. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go sell this on eBay.
Yep, woohoo, something to eBay.
Yeah, because that's all I'm going to do with it, and I don't want that to be the case. I'd rather people get the things that they want. So hopefully we'll be able to give enough stuff away that people think is relevant to themselves.
Have enough bundles, and each bundle will be worthwhile.
And see, the thing I hate is going to a tournament and a raffle and watching Rick win something like that, and I'm sitting there and I never win a damn thing. So,
Well, I've only won a few things, and none of them have ever been all that valuable. I'm not the guy that wins the whole, $300 whatever army box or whatever. You don't. I don't get the cool shit.
You mean a copy of Dreadfleet? Come on, man.
I've never won it. I would have loved that.
I think it was the same copy of Dreadfleet making the round.
It's like 3 years in a row.
It's the fruitcake version of Dreadfleet. Oh. It just gets passed around. It's been around for ages.
I would have probably played that game if I had ever won it. I was never going to buy it myself, but that's what I'm saying is I never won something that cool. Even it's usually like, hey, I won a Goblin Shaman blister pack. I go, yay! I'm not using this for anything. It's probably sitting in a box in my closet still.
You sound pretty ungrateful for having won something. Jeez.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Jesus.
Oh, guys.
Don't worry, he'll apologize for it in a minute.
Yep.
No, I'm just comparing myself to other people that have won far more lucrative or awesome prizes, and you're like, damn, I wish I would have won that. But
instead of being happy for them.
No, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy for them that they won it. I'm glad someone won it. But I'm like,
just quit while you're ahead. Actually, way behind. Just quit.
Stop.
I'm just editing all of this out. No, I think people understand my sentiment. Basically, saying is that I'd rather win something that is cool or relevant to what I want.
Yeah, we get you're a selfish bastard. It's all right.
It's similar to the concept of a silent auction, except for instead of having to write down auction stuff, you're just buying raffle tickets, and if you want to put your 10 in the one thing you want to win, that's what you're going to do.
Right. Or nobody wants this one thing, I can throw a ticket in there and probably win it.
Or pick up the little bucket and go, that's pretty light. I might have a chance. Let me drop some in there. Whatever.
Yep.
So, or hey, that's heavy. Maybe I shouldn't bother putting more in there. My chances are pretty low.
We're gonna have a bunch of min-maxers evaluating the
weighing it on a scale in the corner. There's 10 in here.
I'm totally gonna min-max the lottery. It's gonna be awesome.
Maybe we'll make them not clear so you can't really see how full or empty they are. I think we've talked about formula cans, right?
They will be. You'll only be able to guess them by weight,
and
tickets
won't
don't
let you
weigh
pick
that
them up.
much. So.
Shake them around a little bit.
We'll see what we allow.
Jiggle them.
Well, I'll always jiggle it. What? Are we still talking about the ticket box?
I mean, for charity, you throw out a couple bucks. There might be a lot of things we're willing to do.
Yeah, it's an understatement.
Yeah, and we're and like we've said already, we'd love to get some toys to give to the Marines. I think they're going to try and they're still trying to have a Marine on site. I don't know if they've actually confirmed or been able to arrange that yet or not. But you can bring cash and a toy if you want. Like, there's no stopping you. We will make sure that all that money gets over to the organizers so they can give a big check to the Marines. So I think that's important too. So,
hoorah!
Yeah,
it's exciting.
We're getting way later than we expected. Is there anything else we want to talk about while we're here?
I'm good.
I think I've covered everything.
All right, so I will.
This
be
may be
this.
redacted.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know if there's anything we have to go seriously redact at this point, but I don't think we divulge too much. But
I think you got a totally beep out scenario too, but that's me.
Okay, I can do something over it. I'm going to edit this episode, and hopefully we'll have some kind of brief out to show to be able to share with everyone at that point. I don't think it obviously isn't going to be everything because we're not even telling you everything right now. So
even though we played this as we're going to tell you everything.
I'd like to get the player listing out as soon as possible so people know who's on their team and what side, so they can prep.
As long as people understand that it's likely.
Do you want to redact the last names on that list, or?
No, actually, along with that list, obviously the email will go out to everybody, and hopefully they can identify who's on their team and even do some pre-planning through via emails and things.
Maybe we'll send out two emails that are separate.
I like
one
that.
Is Axis, one is
Yeah,
Allies.
I think that's
Yeah,
a good
an
idea.
Axis side and email and an ally side.
That way somebody doesn't accidentally reply all something they shouldn't be
Watch
replying
out for
to
the
there.
double agents who end up having to switch because of an ad drop.
Oh, fair enough. Damn.
Well, and that might be unavoidable, so just be prepared for that.
Well,
That's
we'll-
just because life happens. So
Winter Soldier and erase their memory. It's all good.
Right.
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Right. So somewhere in here I'm going to have cut it, but I haven't stopped recording yet because I haven't actually signed this off.
Sure.
But, so there's nothing else? SNAFU over and out.
Have a good night, guys.
Peace out.
Have a good night, guys.